Hey there, and welcome again to the Great Stories Podcast. We're back in action. It's been a little bit busy lately for me in the free time department, but just recently had a few things clear up, and I'm starting to book the interviews again. So we're getting back in the saddle. It feels good. My name is Ryan, and this is my show. And what we do here is I sit across this table from another human being, and I hear their life story, the highs, the lows, the wins, the trials, but most importantly, just how people came to know Christ as their Savior and what it's looked like in the context of their life to follow Him. I believe this whole Jesus God thing is real, and I really want to just bring a presence of authenticity and realness into these conversations and share that with anybody. And I pray that everybody gets to listen to just what it looks like for people to follow a real God with their real life. These aren't polished, rehearsed, edited, interrupted. These are just conversation with real people, man. What a joy. What a joy. And today's conversation is no different. I'm talking to a guy that I work with at the trucking company, who I actually trained when he was new there. And, we got into his testimony and stuff. And, man, he's got so much logged in there. And we talked for, gosh, well, you know better than I do, but this is like a 2.5, maybe almost 2:45, something like that. And we didn't even get to everything. I'm probably going to have Ed back on for a part 2 to talk about some other things, just that he shared over the times that I've known him. But for this one, what a crazy story, man. Ed is a guy who has come to know God on God's terms. This is it's a story of God really reaching into this world and claiming somebody to be his own. And he's changed who Ed is. Anyway, I'll let him tell you about it. Without any further delay, this is Ed Jimenez. Hope you enjoy the interview as much as we enjoyed recording it. Here we go. All right, Ed Jimenez.
That's me.
Welcome to the Great Stories Podcast.
All right.
This is my little house. We're inside the man cave, as I affectionately call it.
The man nook.
Tell me who we have sitting here observing tonight.
The one that smiled.
That one.
Is the youngest of the litter.
Yeah.
He's 7. Goes by the name of Dominic.
Yeah.
Hosea is his middle name. And over there, the pretty little one that pretends like she can't hear me. Who looks like her mom. That's Anaya. Anaya Rose.
Get that thing real close.
Anaya Rose. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Absolutely. Here we go.
So you've got how many of those?
9
kids. That's right. Your email is ed9kids or whatever.
At Gmail. Yes.
Oh, great.
Me.
I just gave your email
okay.
out. That's smart.
It's all right. I got a new one. No more kids, though, but a new email.
Oh, okay. You have to change. If you get another kid, you have to change the email.
The whole team. We'll just call it thewholeteam.com.
Nice. Yeah, that's like a volleyball team with one spare.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Well, plus you'd have 2 outs. Nice.
Subs.
Yeah. How many's on a basketball team? Was
it 12? No, 10.
Okay, you got a little work to do then.
Yeah, no, we're done.
Get it. So the mic should be like.
Should I angle it?
Basically, like a fist away from your face. There we go.
Right there.
Is it gonna move? That's its full range. You might have to scoot forward here.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, get it on the.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Should the screen be in front of it?
No, that's for me, because if that's not there, it'll hear me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you.
So this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Man, so here's a little background. I met you maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that.
Right.
You got hired with Sun State Equipment, which is a machinery rental company, and you're a semi-driver.
Yes, sir.
And I was one of the guys that was showing you around and teaching you the ropes.
You were training me.
I was training you.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for us to get into church stuff. 'Cause
Right.
we're both a little bit into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And gosh, I heard just 12 hours of just all these things in your head, and I was like, we've got to record some of this. Like,
Yeah.
people need to hear the stuff you just told me. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's Friday, so how you feeling? Are you?
I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
You made it?
Yeah, I made it. Usually Fridays I'm baked.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. But I've been looking forward to this all day.
Yeah.
Kind of prayed up, just took my time, and I'm excited. I'm excited to promote the kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, that's my passion. I just recently realized what I'm really passionate about. And what I'm passionate about is sharing my faith and rescuing souls.
Yeah.
You know?
I
That's
like it.
yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. So tell me, all 9 kids in order, and how old they are
Oh,
right.
these are the trick questions?
Yeah, how old they are right now.
Okay. You want me to start with my son-in-law?
Go oldest to youngest.
All right, I'll start with my oldest. Her name's Vanessa,
Yeah.
and she's 30. August 10th is when she's born.
Oh man, we're getting birthdays too. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're gonna kill all the questions right now because
All right.
I know her birth weight too.
Maybe that's too much. We're gonna have someone steal their identity
You know
by
what
the
I mean?
time this is.
Yeah. Weighing in at no.
Yeah.
But no, she's 30. Then who follows? That's gonna be Victoria,
All right.
and then we have Giovanni, and then we have Isabella, Francisco, Elijah, Johnny,
Yep.
Anaya, and Dominic.
Awesome.
And then my son-in-law is Franco. So he's been around since my daughter was like 15.
13.
So, oh,
No, 19.
There you go. We got
don't tell on her.
the
She's
peanut
listening.
gallery over here.
Yeah.
Well done.
So yes, she's yeah. So these are the youngest, 7 and 8, and then did I say Johnny? Excuse me.
Yeah, you said
He's 15. Elijah's 17. Giovanni's 20. Victoria's 21. And Francisco, we call him Frankie,
yeah.
and Isabella, they're twins, are 19.
How old are you? Right now?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 32. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 47.
I'm catching up.
Yeah, 47. So I was a young dad. My oldest I was 17 when she was born. So ministry started then for me.
Yeah.
And
That's codon't
yeah.
Yeah, I was. So you did that whole bit on the phone with the telemarketer when we were trucking. Remember that? I don't know why you were talking to her, but you started talking to her about all kinds of things that were not related to like cable.
Just had
or
nothing
internet.
to do.
Yeah.
That's that gift, that gift of gab.
Yeah.
That we know where we get it from, but it's just
Yeah.
funny you could just redirect it all.
That was
You know
so
what I mean?
funny.
That was great.
Yeah, man.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I was cracking up. That lady didn't know what to do with you. She's like,
She almost wanted my number, it felt like.
yeah. She wasted like 15 minutes talking to you.
She could have scouted so many people.
I know, could have got a cable package sold.
You know what I liked about her is she was relentless.
Yeah, that's true. She tried to sell you even at the end. Yeah.
Even to the bitter end. I'm like, lady, I have pirate TV. I don't need anything. There's nothing you could offer me that would sway me.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we could still do something.
No.
But she was just to the end. And she listened to what I had to say. But, if we had more people that were patient like her in the kingdom, we just might change the world.
I think it's cool that you're present in all those kids' lives. You know who they are. You know their names. You know their teachers' names. You know their friends' names. Like, you're not.
Yeah.
You don't have 9 kids spread out across a whole train wreck. Like,
Right.
You're their dad.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
cool and rare.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
It is a bummer. But you know, even even in my past life, before I was a Christian,
Yeah.
there was just some, like, even like street credibility, if you will. Even in my character, and I don't know where it stems from, but I never wanted to be away from my kids.
Yeah.
It's just something I always held to my heart and never, I just, you know, I would never do that. Yeah.
Well, let's before we get into that past life,
Yeah.
give a little, like, what is your kind of role right now, church wise, like, because you
Okay.
work for Sun State. Before that, you were involved in the drop-in center in San Jose.
At Bill Wilson Center.
Yeah.
It's the biggest youth outreach, 18 to 25-year-old. It deals with homeless youth, at-risk youth, drug-addicted youth,
Yeah.
homeless youth. I did outreach in the community for all ages, but I was a case manager with them. So I
Right.
did that for a while, which really brought me back to who I am in God, in the sense of what I'm passionate about. You know, I never thought I would like it. I went in there at first, I didn't. These kids were crazy. A few of them were LGBTQ community, which I was unfamiliar with. And I was only there for a little over a year. But in that last year, I'm a people person. So I never really dislike anyone.
Yeah.
But I never really had too many friends of that community. Bless you.
Bless you.
And I had to take courses. Whoa, man, that's loud. So I had to get familiar with this lifestyle that I knew nothing about, and I had so many walls. You know, even in my own prejudices and my own, because we're all privy to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all have a tendency to put somebody over there, right?
Yeah.
You're the other person, right?
And you know, they're souls.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what I think or you know, we're made in His image. So when you think like that, it's like, whoa, what have I been doing? You know. So it was a big eye opener being in the drop-in center. But I was grateful because it brought me back to my humanity. My you know, you get comfortable in Christianity. You can.
Oh yeah.
And so it's
Shelter.
always
The bubble. It's the bubble.
Yeah, I was speaking Christianese. I know how to say amen. I know how to say hallelujah.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. God bless you. You know,
Yeah.
we do that real good.
Yeah.
But I think what's good is transparency and just, you know, hey, if you're not feeling good, Matt, say, I'm not feeling good. I'm just not, you know. And we get into this mode of perfectisms, and we're just not those people. And we got to stop doing that because we mess ourselves up. We just need to be real. We all got hang-ups.
That's something that, like, sometimes you'll hear people say, like, oh, you know, I woke up and I wasn't feeling great. I'm feeling down. I don't feel like going to church. And just, you know, you got to put on a smile. And oh my gosh, that breaks my heart. Like, that's not the point. The church shouldn't be the spot where you have to pretend, unless you work there. Then once in a while you have to, like, whatever. But real community.
Real community, just true and true. Followers of Christ.
Yeah.
You know. That's it. Yeah.
Well, take us back. You were born.
Oh man,
on the peninsula.
No.
See,
that's a whole nother Bible story.
Oh gosh, I didn't know.
I mean, Bible study is what I should have said.
Okay.
So I gave you a portion of my life here, but man, this is gonna go deep. All right.
Well, you can do the flyby.
All right, we'll do the flyby.
Yeah.
So my mom
was
Salvadorian, and she was like, we had rich and poor in her side of the family, real quick, and she basically was ostracized from my grandfather's family because my grandmother was the house servant in their home. They were shoe salesmen, and they sold belts, shoes, anything leather.
Okay.
Which is where I think I get some of that ability to sell ice to Eskimos, and you know, they're just good salesmen, and
Yeah.
they were just always trying to keep up with the Joneses in Central America. It's but it's an old lifestyle of shoe salesmen. They made shoes, beautiful shoes too, like nice dress shoes and church shoes, and my grandmother was a servant to the home, and grandpa had a thing with her, and they had my mom.
Huh.
My mom was then my grandmother's really dark. My grandfather's side's really light complected. So my grandmother was from like a, she came from what's called a finca, or a village. She had a mud hut. Oops, excuse me. And that kind of environment. Homemade tortillas over fire.
Ooh.
I mean, real butter. You know what I mean?
I like that, yeah.
Corn. They took a shower outside in these big old pool-like things.
Okay.
And just poor.
Huh.
And my grandfather was middle class, their family. And so that always caused tension for my mom. She got ostracized, they wanted her to become the servant. They treated her like one.
Right.
And she just couldn't take it, from what I gather from her. And she dealt with a lot of abuse from the family, who she loved. She never stopped loving them. And had my mom's, her mom's side and my grandfather's side, but was pulled in different directions because of the financial backgrounds.
Right.
And
class
she just didn't fit in anywhere. So she ended up moving to Mexico.
Okay.
Met some ladies who I call my tias, my godmother and her two sisters. And
Auntie.
Yeah.
Tia, Tio, right?
Yeah.
And
so we lived with them. But I wasn't born yet. So she ended up looking for love, young. I think she was 25 when she had me. But she was just kind of wilding out in that age group, whatever they did back then.
Yeah.
69, 70, 71, right around then. So,
Okay.
she was always clean, never abused anything. She liked dancing. Ended up meeting a guy. Of course, he lied to her because that's what they did then. And,
right.
Started dating her, but didn't tell her that he was married. And,
do what you got to do.
Yeah. He was split up from his lady, and he didn't say any of that. So I became the product of that arrangement. And he wanted nothing to do with me, from what I'm told. But, I've never heard his side. I've never met him.
That's in Mexico.
In Mexico.
Okay.
So now I'm a Mexican. I come into the world. I'm Mexican. I was born in Chihuahua. And
Nice.
I like to say, she laughed. I like to say Chihuahua because it sounds cooler.
Oh, yeah. That sounds...
They're all, where are you born? I'm Chihuahua.
That sounds Native American.
It sounds pretty cool. And it's exactly the way it's spelled. I mean, looks, so. Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
So, I tell people this story, and they go, well, have you been back? No. Never have. I just, I've been here my whole life. So, anyway, long story short, he wanted nothing to do with me. My mom then was trying to, say, hey, this is your son, The grandma tried to get involved.
Yeah.
She had wealth. She made an offer to my mom to pay her to give me up.
Wow.
And
To her?
Yeah, but didn't want me to have contact with her anymore. So my mom, knowing that the lady had money, said, I need to do something and get out of here. So she ended up going back to El Salvador, put me with my grandma in the mud hut where she was staying.
Yeah.
And I was 2 years old, but I remember it.
Really?
And everything I told you is from my memory. I can remember the fresh tortillas, the corn over the fire,
Whoa.
the tub, my uncles, because she had other family.
Yeah.
My mom had other brothers and sisters, so there was a lot of them. And so her brothers would take me on their shoulders. We went back to El Salvador for a month or two. She left me with with my grandma.
Huh.
And she went and partied in El Salvador, met another guy. He's Salvadorian. Keep in mind, I'm Mexican. My mom's Salvadorian.
Yeah.
She ended up meeting Rodolfo Jimenez, who swept her off her feet at a party, and they hooked up and hung out for a little while. And I was at my grandma's for like a month. She finally popped up one day. Okay, we're leaving. I'm like, okay, well, where are we going now? I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know where home was anymore.
2.5 years old.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just knew that I was now in love with living with grandma in this finca in this village.
Yeah.
And it's like really cool. It's different. Fresh food. Everything's yummy. Everyone's nice. Nobody's mean. It's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember playing with ducks and wilderness and riding on horse, donkeys, and just cool stuff. I remember that.
And you hear that so often, where like it seems like the more complicated your life is, like the more the higher your standard of living, just the more stressful and miserable people get.
It's simple living.
Yeah, it seems crazy, but every time you hear that, it's like, yeah, I miss when it was just
simplicity.
Simple. Yeah,
man. So we ended up moving, packing, and moving. Now I'm like 3. I think it was right before my 4th birthday. We came to Palo Alto, California.
Wow.
From El Salvador. We flew to San Francisco, and then we took, I think to LA, and then we Greyhound.
Okay.
Up to the Bay Area. I had no idea where we were going.
Yeah. What is this place?
Never met them. And then I had 2 older brothers immediately. They were 10 and 11 years older than me. So I remember being a little kid and them coming in, and they see me and they're like, "Who are you?" And they're older, and I'm like, "Who are you?" And I'm stomping on their stuff, and my dad's talking with my mom, and they're introducing me to him, and it was just weird. It was just a weird thing. But as we progressed as a family, he took me in. He at 7 years old, I think he ended up adopting me, and it was a big celebration for our family. And he says, "Today's the day, son." And we went to the courthouse and did all this stuff. Went to dinner as a family. It was super cool, and it's just different. But I didn't. It was new to me. I didn't know. I was learning English. I didn't know any English.
Wow.
It was different. But I became a Jimenez. So.
What would your name have been before?
Salinas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimenez.
Yeah.
I like Jimenez.
So I was adopted by Rudy Jimenez, my dad. He had Rudy Jr. and Louis, and then my sister too is Celia.
Wow.
So that's how it started, man. And I ended up he wanted to buy a house. We lived in apartments, grew up middle class.
Yeah, kind of right. Because you pointed down a street at one point when we were driving through off Embarcadero.
Yeah. So Greer Park is right there.
That's right, Greer Park, yeah.
Well, that park used to be Palo Alto Drive-Ins, that whole park.
Right.
So I grew up going to the drive-in theater. It was right across the street from the apartments. We'd get in there, and it was cool. Watch movies free.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But back then, you could do things like that, and you could just walk in. They wouldn't even... It was just great. But... They got rid of it. There was tons of kids. There was 3 different apartments. There was 100 in our apartments, 100 in the other. Just a big melting pot of people.
Yeah. And
I grew up with kids that were rich. I grew up with kids in my area. Different, I always had that, I don't know, I had filthy rich friends, and then poor friends, and then I had middle class friends. I just had everybody. I got along with everyone.
Yeah, because that's sort of right in the middle.
It's right in the middle.
Because you go like a mile either way, and you've got,
You got the ghetto.
Atherton, Palo Alto, and then you got EPA on the other side.
And then I had friends whose dads were in Hollywood. They were producers.
Yeah.
So summertime would come, or breaks, we'd go to their house. They had movie theaters in their basements, and watching real movies, reel to reel, in their houses downtown Palo Alto. And I'm like... the life.
Wow.
So, I had a lot of cool stuff going on. Yeah,
Dang.
knew a lot of famous people. It was pretty cool.
Weird.
It is weird. It's weird because it's right here in the Bay Area. You didn't expect it, but
Yeah.
just really cool stuff.
When did East Palo Alto kind of get its like
Notoriety.
its rap? Yeah, because because I grew up, in the 80s,
Yeah,
and I think at that point in time,
it was bad.
if people,
Murder capital.
yeah, it was like, yeah, I think somewhere in the 80s, it was like the murder capital of the U.S. at one point. I think Oakland took over, and then Chicago, but
Yeah, for like 7 years, it was
yeah,
bad.
were you around for that? Or
I was a youngster, but yeah, my brothers are 10, 11 years older, so they had a
Okay.
lot of riffraff friends too that they grew up with.
Yeah,
They were like potheads, but then they had the ghetto crews, and so they were friends with everyone. And because of those affiliations and me being around my brothers and they were watching me,
yeah,
I was able to do what every cool kid wanted to do, and that's run drugs or do illegal stuff
yeah.
for the neighborhood all-stars, you know what I mean? And got into that at a young age, just dropping packages off. Didn't know what I was doing right there in East Palo Alto. Well, it's actually on the west side of 101, but it was on O'Keefe. I don't know if you know where O'Keefe is. There's a row of apartments. It's where those new buildings are on University.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Whiskey Gulch back when
Okay.
I was in the 80s.
Okay.
And that little area was just horrible. So they got rid of that.
Yeah.
They obliterated that. And then right behind that was all the apartments.
Okay.
And there was a street called O'Keefe that runs right behind that.
So that's
And
where all the action was at.
that's every apartment building was selling some kind of illegal substance. And I was a little Latino kid with
Yeah.
a backpack.
Yeah. Right. A mule.
I was a mule.
Yeah.
Basically, I was hired to be a mule. In those days, I was, this was like 84, 83.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like from 9 to like 12. Taking I didn't know what was in them. I knew in my mind, but I
Yeah.
never opened it because they said, don't open it, we'll kill you. And
Wow.
we don't want to do that. We know you.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay you, and they paid me like $100 every time I did it, and
Good.
$100.
Good kid money.
Oh my god!
You're balling.
I couldn't. I was balling because Hubba Bubba was 25 cents. You know what I mean? So $100
Yeah.
was decent money, and
Yeah.
so I didn't even know I had to spend it because I couldn't take that home. My parents weren't.
Right.
They'd be like, "Where are you getting this? You know
Oh,
what's going on?"
They would know.
They would know without a doubt. I'm wearing my brother's hand-me-downs, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I got new Nikes, or Gemco only had so many things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you know what Gemco is.
That was a department store.
Yeah, it was a department store.
Yeah. There was no online. You couldn't Amazon it. There was no.
Yeah.
What's Zappos? You can't Zappos anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I did that. I was hustling that, and yeah, just doing that kind of stuff. And
you were was it you that told me you were the candy dealer?
Before that, I was. Yeah, so I went to
Got your
Jordan
start.
Middle School.
Yeah.
I always sold things, but gum dingers were really big, and blow pops.
Gum dingers.
Remember gum dingers? So it was like a blow pop,
Okay.
but it was gum inside. And it said blow
Okay.
pops, gum dingers, and they had like sour apple,
Yeah.
watermelon.
Okay. Yeah. And the commercials had that parrot.
Yeah,
They would just bite it.
yeah. And
How
so,
many licks? And he'd
Yeah.
go 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had
That's good advertising.
yeah. So there was this liquor store called the Old Barrel in
Okay.
Palo Alto on El Camino by Barron Park,
Okay.
and go over there and get my candy because they sold wholesale candy in big old tubs. I would get this stuff and sell it at school. That's how I made my money. I didn't really get allowance. I just hustled whatever I could. And so I just developed this lifestyle of being the candy man. And I never thought, when I think back now and I say, man, okay, where did I learn these things? Because it came so natural to jump into these things, and it started at a young age selling candy. So, I had different varieties of candy, Hubba Bubba, Big League Chew. I had everything, and I made money. I had tabs for people. I'm in junior high, and
Gosh,
it was cool. And the kids that were buying, they could afford it. It was just I was the convenience store.
Yeah.
So it was great. And 7-Eleven was all right, but
You're right there.
I was right there. I didn't have Slurpees. If I had Slurpees, I would have been
Oh yeah.
the man. But yeah, so I did that, man, and got a lot of fame like that, and pretty popular just with everyone. I had every kind of friend, black, Chinese, white. God, so many different people I grew up with. I can't say I ever was like, well, when I moved, I ended up, okay, so parents bought a house in '88 in Mountain View.
Okay.
We left the apartment lifestyle that I was accustomed to.
Yeah.
So from the time I touched down here, 3.5, almost 4, till 15, 14, we bought the house in Mountain View. I started selling candy and all that stuff, pushing weight. My parents didn't know. Ended up buying a Suzuki Samurai.
Oh yeah.
And that's when they were popular, when they first came out. And so the neighborhood drug dealer dudes who I got it from, who one of them was a original member of the Midtown Hogs, as they were called back then, who's now deceased. He was murdered in San Quentin.
Oh.
I was doing a lot of packages for him, and he liked the way I did things, and so he charged me like, I don't know, I think $700 for a Suzuki Samurai, and it was pretty new.
Okay.
And it was a lowering kit on it, so I was in junior high school driving this thing.
Junior high.
Get at Jordan Middle School. I was in 7th grade. Driving this Suzuki Samurai, and it's like hotter than lava in Palo Alto on Middlefield Road, and I don't know if you know where Jordan is. It's right before Oregon Expressway in Middlefield. So
it's like a frontage.
No, it's like in the Midtown Palo Alto.
Okay, yeah, I have to look at it.
Yeah, so it sticks out, and then we're a bunch of kids, because I didn't go alone. All my buddies were, come on guys, I got a car.
Yeah, dude, you're
the
coolest kid in the world driving around.
Fill it up. And then my dad messed up by showing me how to drive, because I would drive to church, Catholic church, every weekend. Or back, I remember him drinking beer and just cracking a beer.
Right.
He'd have a couple and then be like, okay, you drive. I'm like, okay. I was a little kid. All right. So he started letting me drive to church, and started getting in trouble. My friend Billy Massey, well, I shouldn't say his name. Oops, too late. His parents owned a hardware store downtown Palo Alto. So because of that, he's a cop now, actually. Because of that, I got keys to all my parents' cars.
Okay.
I had my own set, so I wouldn't have to sneak them.
You'd copy them?
Yeah, I copied them. So my dad would sleep on the weekends.
Yeah.
He'd played soccer for an adult league. Then he'd come home and crash. And I knew when he was crashing, I'd go take his keys. But then I got my own keys. And I would go cruising. Or late night, they'd go to sleep and I'd take their car. And he would always say, man, it's like somebody burned my gas. And I'm cruising with my friends all the way to San Jose. And that was before 85 was built. Yeah. So we'd go as far as, I think, De Anza, and then go down Stevens Creek all the way in the...
Dude.
Way out.
And he didn't get wise to the...
Well, they ended up finding out one time, because I got caught up. They caught me that they knew their car was stolen. There was no cell phones there, so I came home real quick to use the restroom, and I parked the car downstairs.
Yeah.
My dad goes, my car's been stolen. I go, what? What?
Playing dumb.
Gotta get your car back. And I was like, I gotta go move his car. Shoot, I left it right downstairs. He's gonna know it's me.
Yeah.
So I go to move it, and he goes in my mom's Ford Granada to go look for it, and he spots me.
And you're like an 8th
I'm in
grade.
his 280ZX. Like, oh, there's no way he's catching me.
Right.
And I'm not about to let him because my
Oh,
dad,
so he doesn't know it's you yet.
until he seen me.
Okay.
So he rolled up on me, and I'm like, and I just seen him in the house. I'm like, what? They stole your car? And so that whole thing came to light real quick. And he goes, what are you? And I'm like, I didn't know what he said. I just know he was mad. He turned red, and I punched the gas.
You're running from your dad.
I'm flying, man.
Where were you gonna go?
I just
You live
away, because my dad didn't play. It's not like I was gonna get a lecture. It was
Right.
It was gonna be like,
It's only getting worse though. You're running.
I didn't want to get that punishment right then and there. I just delayed it.
Oh.
So I take off down Bayshore towards south.
Okay.
I jam to Colorado and West Bayshore, which is the next big intersection. I have friends at the Colorado Apartments, low income housing. So I got a lot of buddies there.
Yeah.
You know, a few of the girls that I know, they're outside hanging out. Well, what are you doing? You got your parents' car again? I'm like, yeah, I got it again, but I'm in trouble. My dad's looking for me. And I could see the car coming from a mile away down Colorado towards us. And I'm like, oh no.
That's him.
So I'm in a cul-de-sac. And my dad jams in. And he's like facing me. I'm scared. My friends are out there. A bunch of girls that I care about are out there. Embarrassment is about to get real.
Oh.
And I just remember punching the gas again.
No.
And I did like a donut, almost a donut around the car. I went it was like, I think it was the first sideshow ever.
You started something. Great. That's your fault then.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was like that kind of action. I went around it, and I'm looking at my dad.
So he's in the middle, and
and he got out of the car, and I'm like going around him, like, what do I do? I punched it again. He couldn't catch me. He chased me through town, but I burned him. And at this point, I'm like, do I call the cops? What do I do?
Right.
I don't even know, because I was so scared that I'm like, I'm gonna call the cops on myself. Silly. I was a kid.
It's a disaster.
It was a disaster.
You can't even make this up. This is like
It was just mayhem.
Something out of a weird movie.
He ended up going home. I ditched the car. My friends are hiding me. I'm trying to see where my dad is. I don't even know where he went. He went home.
He's got to cool off. Yeah.
Officer Lou, he was this big Hawaiian kind of overweight guy, knew me from my brothers.
Right.
His squad car's at my house. I'm like, oh, and I know it's his car because it said Lou on the door. And I'm like, Officer Lou. So everybody's like, hey, Officer Lou's at your house, man. What's going on? Your brother's getting in trouble again? I go, no.
It's me.
It's me. And so everyone in the neighborhood's kind of like looking. Oh, the cops are here. What's going on? Let's find out. And I'm peeking over bushes. Or what'd you do? So it was just one of those things where all the neighbors knew I was around. Nobody was telling on me. I was busted. And I just finally got tired of being out there. I wanted to go home. I wanted to go to sleep. I was drained mentally and just done. I was
life on the run.
What am I doing?
Fugitive.
Yeah. So I went in because I knew the cop was inside. But back then, you could probably spank a kid in front of a cop. It just didn't matter. They would have been like applauding it or something.
Right.
But
you're not doing it right.
I get in and I looked at my dad. He's hotter than lava. And I'm like, my mom's crying. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. If my mom's crying, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And Officer Lou's like, I need to talk to you. All right. Fessed all up. And they charged me with joyriding. So.
How old were you for this?
I want to say 12, 13.
So you're in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
9th grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
You know what? I take that back. I was about 10 because it was before I had It was before I had the Suzuki.
Gosh.
Yeah. When I was in 7th grade when I had that. So, yeah, it was before that. So, yeah. Horrible, man. Just horrible. Just a life of, no direction. Even I had loving parents. They loved me. My dad just worked hard. He was, climbing that corporate ladder. He started in, the mailroom, just working shipping and receiving. Now he's climbing his way to be the president of a company, and
Whoa.
he was strict, but he was an accountant. He became an accountant, certified accountant. Was climbing in his company and just doing different things, you know. I ended up we bought a house in Mountain View. We were looking in Redwood City,
Yeah.
different areas, San Carlos. He ended up
That's where I grew up.
San Carlos, right?
Yeah, San Carlos.
So I remember going to the places. You know, there was one off of Woodside Road in Redwood. There was another one off of Fair Oaks in Redwood City that we really came close. And then there was one off of, I want to say, was it Holly? I think it was Holly.
Yeah.
Right up there by,
Yeah, I know where that's at.
there was little houses there. They're all gone now. By the old county road and
Yeah.
close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just house searching, and he ended up finding this beater in Mountain View. It was a beat up house, and it was ugly. But I'm so grateful that he bought it because it's worth a lot of money right now.
It's still there?
Yeah, my mom lives in it.
She's still in it? Okay.
Yeah, she's still in it.
Oh,
They bought it back then for 120,
Yeah, that's about right.
and 3.5 it's worth now. 3.5 million.
Whoa. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Crazy.
My parents are in a similar thing. They bought their house in like I think 83
Right. For like 100.
It's like 115 maybe, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the houses in the neighborhood are all 2 million plus. It's all Google, Facebook, Apple,
Yep.
you know, whatever Oracle people.
Yeah.
So
But it's probably a nice, in those areas the houses are a little bit bigger.
They filled a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Like my
there's
parents,
no yards.
my parents' home is off of Moffett Boulevard. There were track homes for the Navy.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
was no basement, no attic. Just they're built on slabs.
Just pop down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-bedroom little house. But they added a bedroom.
Man.
Just built a little cottage in the back. Bought that house.
So fast forward a bit then.
Okay.
And let's get into
The mayhem.
more of the mayhem, the high school, you know.
Okay.
When things got real for you.
So it got real. I was
Or
getting in
more
trouble.
real.
I was getting in trouble. I didn't fit in scholastically anywhere. I couldn't get that rhythm in my life the way I'd like to have. I just wasn't a good student. I went to school. I hung out. I was the cool kid. I sold things that people wanted, and if not, I was the connection to many different things. Whatever your candy was, I was like that guy. And just developed that, you know. And so we moved to Mountain View. This is where it starts because I really got lost. Trying to fit in, being a young man that grew up with so many different ethnicities around me that I was very confused. Parents were good parents, but my dad was abusive, cheated, and I thought that was normal. So I had girlfriends, and I never really was loyal to them because I see it in at home. So whatever I seen,
you don't know different.
I thought that was the way you treated women.
Yeah.
And understood that my mom put up with it and was okay with it. I mean, she was upset about it, and I didn't like that, you know, growing up, but I just assumed that's what men did.
Yeah.
And so I carried that, all these things that I grew up believing. I knew that my dad was searching for God, but couldn't really figure out. We'd go to Catholic church, but on the weekends I'd go to Ron L. Hubbard and stay in the car. He'd be reading these books, and he was just reading on Mormonism, on
Hubbard, yeah, that's Mormon.
Yeah. No, Hubbard is
Scientology.
Scientology.
That's it.
So he was doing all these different things, and I know as an adult now that he was searching for God.
Right.
For himself, for his family. He would always say the church just wants your money, and but then I would see him in church giving, so it contradicted it, and I was like, well, why do you give then? But he always went to service.
Yeah. Wasn't
really involved, just went to service, making faces at little babies and stuff like that. He did that kind of stuff. So I seen it was just a lot of contradiction, but one thing I got from that is that he was searching for God. He was searching for God. And so I always remember that he taught me a lot of great things, and he taught me a lot of awful things. You know, the rest I've had to learn from the Lord, but I'm grateful for that process. I still had to go through it. So I get to Mountain View. I'm trying to fit in. I had people. There's gangs there. There was 3 different gangs. There was an Asian gang. There was North and South, and Northerners were just starting, so it was different, you know. And I have a mixed background, so I'm Salvadorian and Mexican, and I'm just a mutt.
Yeah, you're just used to being in the middle of everything.
And then I grew up with a lot of white kids, so I talked different. I had Asian friends. I listened to rap music, hip hop, heavy metal, reggae. Even my closest friends, they didn't all listen to the same music that I listened to. I got them turned on to different sounds just because I loved music. I never played any instruments. I always had dreams of playing the piano, but I had all these likes. So I had all this confusion. It's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
I was trying to fit in. Ended up taking this guy's girl that she didn't tell me she had a boyfriend, but started a little war. So he was one of the leaders of the Northern gang, and his name was Jimmy. He had a brother named David. He had like 6 brothers, but him and David were like this, and everybody knew him. And so we were enemies right from that whole female thing. And she didn't tell me, so I came to her. I go, "Why didn't you tell me, man? I didn't know, what's going on, man.
Now I'm in trouble.
I don't want these dudes." So this guy's calling my house phone because we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
Well, there were cell phones, but just wasn't really privy to it.
No.
And so he got these dudes rolling by my mom's house. I'm like, "Oh man, what's going on?" Trying to figure this out. I met a cool guy that I went to high school with named Gabe. We became best friends, and he was my road dog, but it wasn't really a good fighter, so I was like, I couldn't count on him to really have my back. If you're listening, Gabe, I'm sorry, man. You're a lot bigger. I know you're a bouncer now and all this good stuff. And
you grew up.
But you were not a fighter in high school. But he's a big dude now. He's huge. And he's been able to take care of good people that we all know on radios as a bouncer. So it's funny. But so I ended up doing that. Got a little wild and still did my little sales here and there. Had these little connections with. That's how I started finagling my way back into that life. After that, I met a girl. She had just moved from Arizona. Had kids with her. Had 4 kids with her. So out of my 9 kids, I had 4 with my ex, and then basically, we tried that for years and just couldn't because of my, I started dabbling in not only the sales of stuff but using and
we'll call it hard candy.
Yeah. It wasn't Pop Rocks, but
hard candy.
But yeah, so I got into that, and I sold it for a long time, and was that kind of a guy. And then because I knew that girls liked it, I started using it, and I never did. And it's funny because they say, it's a lust of the flesh, right? So once you start using, all these doors open up. They kind of feed themselves, but take you nowhere, and fast, and then you're stuck. So I got caught up in this lifestyle of habitual, just acting crazy and doing drugs and partying with different people and a lot of women, a lot of stuff like that. Just being unfaithful to my ex because that's what I grew up thinking was right, and she's gonna put up with it, and I just had nobody to really guide me.
Yeah. So
she got pregnant. We were 7. She was 16. I was 17. And so the day came to tell my dad, "Hey, I got some girl pregnant.
Yeah.
I want to be a man and tell him, And he didn't accept it. He says, "Well, how do I know it's yours?" "Well, you don't. I'm telling you. I'm the guy that she's with. It's me. So
Huh.
he wasn't too happy about that. Kind of grounded me. Said I couldn't go out. Don't call her. She calls the house. Nothing. I'm like, well, that just made me want to just call her more and run away. And
good luck.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Holding you down there.
So I was upset, and inside anger, young teenage kid. He ended up passing away soon after that. He had a massive heart attack in Redwood City. He made a bet with his coworkers to lose weight, and he started this crazy diet. His first day working out, he overexerted himself and had a massive heart attack at in Redwood City, actually, on Veterans Boulevard.
Dang.
At a health spa, and it was 2 doors down from his job. So it was like insanity. So not only was my ex pregnant with a baby.
Wow.
We just told my dad days before that. I had all this stress and just different things going on. Just a lot for a young man. And so...
Yeah, you're 17?
17.
Yeah, this is like...
It's insane.
These are things that you'd expect.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't even got to the 20s yet. Oh my gosh.
And then I was trying to fit in, still being the womanizer on the side. And
yeah, selling the candy.
The candy, being Mr. Cool Guy, still making friends amongst enemies and being that guy. Not sure where I was going, what was taking place. They just bought this home. I'm wondering, is my mom even going to have it? What's going to go on here? She cleans houses for a living. She's been doing it since I was in kindergarten.
Right.
That's all she did. But she held on. She did everything she needed to. And she worked it out. But
wow.
As far as me,
what a champ.
Had a baby, was a dad. I wasn't the best dad because I was just a young kid, But did the best I could. My daughter grew up thinking she had a lot of, by then I had a lowrider. Yeah, so I was in the lowriding scene. Started my own little clique. We called ourselves the 40-ounce crew. Just different stuff. They had rappers amongst us, a lot of hot rodders, low riders, neighborhood kids from Mountain View, and so my daughter, she was born and she grew up thinking that she had all these uncles. I remember she used to say, "Man, I got a lot of family," and everyone loved her.
Yeah.
And it's all my guys that we did neighborhood things with, and we had our own gang. And then we were affiliated. We fought against the rival gang members in a town of Mountain View where you would never think that would happen. If you think about it, you think Google and Facebook.
Yeah. Mountain View in my mind is like...
But it wasn't always like that. Like, it's what it is now,
wow.
And even now there's not that much stuff out there. They're still out there. There's some active gang members there that are families that are still there, but most of everyone's gone because they just can't afford it.
Yeah. Who can?
Yeah. So, got into that. So we had our own little clique. We were Northerners and sold drugs. I got caught up doing that at a bigger level, training people, recruiting gang members for upper people in the affiliation, and got hit up to just recruit and bring people in different cities. I was told what areas I can go into and what I couldn't go into.
So you're setting up a network.
I was setting up a network of, and it was all for the gang. There was a corporate gang movement that housed people that are incarcerated, that are so part of the monies went to that, where I would go buy drugs. The rival gang members were also buying drugs, and I was supplying a lot of different cities, a lot of Bay Area rappers that I grew up with listening to. Now I'm kind of rubbing elbows with and selling drugs with. And
so you're just all over the Bay
hanging
now.
Hanging out. Yeah, I'm all over the Bay. Picking up in Los Baños, coming back, breaking it all up. Then I started saying I can't do all this by myself. Start bringing in some key players that my friends, and showing them how to do it, kind of discipling them in that area. It's basically what I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
And
you're exercising a gift. Just
it's a gift. You know, we're all
the other
born with
way.
them. Just when you don't know what, you know, at that point, what was bad, I looked at as good.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I just didn't know any better. I had scales over my eyes. So what I did for the neighborhood was,
Right.
you know, in my neighborhood amongst my peers, I was the man. But as a Christian man looking back now, I was like just scum of the earth. I was just like, wow, what was I doing? What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Would I ever want my kids around this? Man, would I allow this? You know, now I say those things, right? But,
Yeah.
you know, it's part of the process. So the process just got crazy. I got addicted. I used for years. I did off and on jobs. I worked. I sold drugs. Became my best customer.
Yeah.
Sold. I mean, I had a lot of money coming in, but I was so doped up at times that I never invested. I never,
Huh.
you know, I did things. You know, I don't know. I wasn't a good steward,
Right.
and just chaotic living. You know, I just spent as I went, and always had great parties and stuff, but had a lot of connections that were huge that could have landed me in prison or dead. And
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, did you experience any like violence or like
I did.
like
I did. We've been
almost?
shot at. I had friends that ran drugs for me. They got caught with my drugs. That did time for me
Whoa.
and bit the bullet and wrote it out.
Wow.
And to me, that was like, wow, these are loyal guys, man. I don't know if I could do that for somebody. I'm just being real. And I'm like, I remember telling the one guy that he got 10, but he wrote out 8.
Wow.
And I was just like, how can you do that? That was mine. And I remember talking to him on the phone. I was like, you don't have to do this, man. You know, I'll turn myself in. No, man, I got this, dude. I had it. It was me.
Wow.
I got busted. I got this. And I was like, whoa. It always jolted my
That's crazy.
manhood. Like, man, that dude's no joke. Served his time, got out. Took a few years, and he ended up going back. But, you know, just to know that he did that for me
Yeah.
blows me away.
What a weird like flip side of like grace, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like
And I gave him money. I put money on his books.
yeah.
Man, just never
Wow.
understood it.
Wow.
And I always looked at it, and I still kept hustling. I never really quite fit in because I was always trying too hard. I don't know. But I did develop this persona of a mean drug dealer, kind of gang member-ish,
Huh.
riding around in an Impala. I love low riders, but, you know, I had this thing. I had friends that were drug dealers in East Palo Alto, and they were known that many of them are murdered. You know, this particular family that I did business with, they're pretty much all gone. They were murdered. You know, it was during the 90s, you know,
Yeah.
the murder stuff. And I always wondered how that went down, but I was affiliated with a lot of those people. A lot of those people went down. We've talked about different stores and shops that were
Right.
involved, and
Right.
without mentioning names, it just, you know, it was a scary time, but it was like if
Yeah.
we knew who we were, and I knew that I was always had my cars in there getting painted too, and anyway, I said too much already. But just knowing the grace that's always been on my life, and you know, being addicted and being a womanizer and being this thug, being this guy that my parents didn't raise, because they raised me to be loving.
Yeah.
Were they all together? No, but there was always love. You know, love was always there, just to a certain degree. So it wasn't the full love that I was always searching for. You know what I mean? So, long story short, I ended up getting caught up doing violent things and was facing all this time. I had anger management, probation. My life's coming to a whirlwind, all these different charges, and ended up getting like because of the chaos in my mind and my ex's drug addiction as well, we played this, she didn't want me around so she could use my drugs. And so it became like this cat and mouse game of, I'm going to call the cops on you. But I was violent in the sense of, I didn't hit her, but I was mean. I carried myself like I was a scary dude, but I was just a big coward because I was a drug addict. Yeah. So I pumped a lot of fear. And at that point, I was living this lie of this drug dealer. I mean, I remember fighting people for $5 just to prove a point, to say, you owe me. And I had to carry that through because of this person I thought I was. I wasn't raised to be that person. It's just who I became in the lie. So ended up getting all these charges, some drug charges, under the influence drug charges, all at once. And I was facing like 15 years.
Wow.
Got arrested. They were trying to scare me, saying like, if you fight this is what's gonna happen. You can get even more time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, what the heck? I got arrested. I'm in Elmwood. I'm in lockdown. I got all these people that know me from the streets that owe me, and they're like, here man, we got something for you. Here's this. I don't want anything. I didn't want anything to do with anyone. I was just at a place in my life. I had kids, right? At this point, I had Victoria, Vanessa, and the twins. Wow. This is fast forwarding a few years. Just caught in my addiction. It went on from the time I was like 20 deep until like 28, 29, 30.
Wow, it's a solid decade.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got saved. Well, I'll get to that. But
don't give it away. Don't give it away.
so I'm there, and to me, this lifestyle that I'm living feels to me about 6 months.
Wow.
So I go in, I'm facing all this time. My mind's chaotic. I had, at this particular time when I go to Elmwood, it was beginning of November 2002 or 3. God, I don't remember. So I'm in there just hurting. And I'm facing this time. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my broken relationship with my ex. Who is she with?
Elmwood is like a county.
It's a county facility.
It's a jail. Yeah.
It's a jail. There's main jail downtown, and then there's the farm, which is known as, or Elmwood, where they had a lockdown, and then they have a general population yard. I was in lockdown.
That's before federal.
Right.
Like the next step from Elmwood is sentencing.
I think back then you could do up to 2 years.
Right.
In county.
Yeah, I think it's longer now.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I was dealing with all this stuff, all these people that owed me from the streets. I had this reputation, so I'm like, I got to show that I'm strong even here. I'm also coming down on drugs.
Right.
So I've already been a drug addict for a solid drug addict, where I have like an 8-ball, which is about 3.5 grams a daily use, whether ingesting it through smoking, or I never shot up or anything like that, but I did I did them not intravenously, but I smoked it or I snorted it, however I could get it.
Wow.
But I needed it. And it was so real because I had to have it. If I didn't have it, my body would get sick.
Yeah.
I didn't get, it's just something I went through. It was kind of like, I tell people that now, and they were like, how did you do that? And I did it. And it was a hard thing to admit because it's a lot of drugs, but I was so used to doing them.
Right.
And they didn't even get me high anymore. That's where I was. It was just in my system.
Just kept you normal.
It kept me normal.
Wow. And
so I would try to do other things to bring me down, to get sleep, to just to maintain. But my mind was a wreck. As I look at it now, and I've studied schizophrenia and all that, I was like pre-schizophrenic, just from the drug abuse, just from the not eating properly, not sleeping properly, just horrible stuff. And I I've studied it extensively. I've reached a lot of drug members and drug addicts, and
Yeah.
I see it now, and I'm like, wow, that was me.
Yeah.
So because of those things that I've gone through, I'm able to, as a man now, I see people that are in that struggle so vividly. Like, it's like God illuminates them for me.
Wow.
He shows them to me, and he says, that's you. And it's a trip, because I get that 24/7. And so I go to jail. I'm fighting this chaos in my mind. And there's this bald guy. He grew up in Vallejo. He sounds black. I think I told it to you like this too.
Yeah.
He sounded black. I was already confused enough. I didn't want anything to do with any kind of like new friendships. I was very closed. I was very to myself. I knew a lot of people in there,
Yeah.
but wanted nothing to do with anyone. All I could think about was my family, getting out, not doing all this time, and changing whatever that was, because I still had no idea.
Yeah.
This guy was like, hey man, I just want to, hey, my name's this, that, and the other, and he sounds black. I'm like, dude, you don't look black though.
What was he?
He was like Pacific Islander. I don't know if he was Tongan or Samoan. So he ended up telling me he was Pacific Islander.
Okay.
But that he was adopted by a black family in Vallejo who raised him up and taught him about God. And man, that's where it started. I'm like, what? So he goes, yeah, man, can I pray for you? You know, Jesus loves you, bro. And woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, what? I go, look, dude.
What are you talking about?
I go, man, I don't know what you're into, man, but it's just not. You know, I'm still on this fake persona tip. I've been doing it so long. I've been acting this part for so long.
Yeah.
I fooled myself. I wasn't being warm. I wasn't being affectionate. I wasn't seeing anything good from this man other than you're bugging me right now. And I wanted nothing to do with his Jesus. I wanted nothing to do with anything he was talking about. The minute he started, it was just,
Was he a inmate?
He was an inmate.
Okay.
So that's another thing.
So he's not doing outreach. He's in there with you.
he's in there with me. So that's another thing. And see, I was in the world, man. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything godly. I was an altar boy in the Catholic Church. I did my CCD classes, but I never had a relationship with Jesus. So I'm like, if you're a Christian, why are you in here?
It's not working, buddy.
Your Christianity, where's God now?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like what people say to me now, you know, and it's like, where's your God now?
Right.
You know, where's Jesus? Well, I don't see, you're preaching Jesus, but I don't see Jesus anywhere.
Right.
I can't touch him. I can't physically see him. So this guy is just like, look, man, I just want to pray for you. And he goes on for 3 days. And just everywhere I see him, at the kitchen chow hall, on the yard. I'm like, back then they had me on lockdown. They put me back in main population. So we're on the yard. I'm avoiding this dude. Hey, bro, what's up, man? Jesus loves you, bro. And I just didn't like him. I didn't like him. I didn't want. And once he said Jesus, it was just another reason not to like him. And I didn't know why, because I generally like everybody. You know what I mean? And I just didn't like the position in life I was in, the trouble I was facing.
Yeah, you didn't need this.
I just didn't need more issues. I got things I'm thinking about. You know, I was like, who are you, dude, to tell me about the Lord? And I'm over here tripping. I don't have time for that. You know, and that's the way my mind was. I had bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
My freedom, you know, who's with my lady? That was, you know, who is she doing? You know, did she find my money? Did she find my drugs?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these things, because I had that kind of stuff all around the house, buried, different stash spots, because I was already getting keyed to the point that she was using probably just as much as me. Even though I was burning her, I never brought it up because she was probably doing the same to me. And it was just a vicious cycle that kind of needed to be gone from my life anyway.
Yeah.
So it was all coming to a close. I had put my kids in a Christian school, my twins. There were 3. So let me back up a little bit. I put them in there. It was in Los Altos, California.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful place. And it's a CDC Lutheran church. I don't know if I should give the name, but anyway. it was an awesome place. I wanted my kids to know God. I was still doing my dirt.
Huh.
We afforded to get them in there. It was pretty costly,
Yeah.
but I was so proud of them just to want to go and wanted them to know God. I wanted them to. I always had that drive in me. Before that, I didn't know why. Even though this guy was there telling me about the Lord in jail, and I wanted nothing to do with him, I did want my kids to know about God.
Yeah.
So I put them in there. They're cute, boy and a girl, Francisco and Isabella. Put them in there. And, they would come home singing songs of worship to me, and I'd go pick them up. And the teacher was, the director of the CDC program was an African lady from, I want to say she was from Nigeria. And her name was, I won't tell you her name. But I don't know if she could tell that I was, using or just seen me roll up in my car, my lowrider. Assumed maybe just the people sometimes I had with me, and I'd leave them in the car while I went to go get the kids. And I don't know if she smelled things on me. I don't know. All I know is I was there to get my kids. I was just happy that they were there. So they would be like wanting to show me around the school, and the lady'd be like, I'd be like trying to pick them up quick and go.
Yeah.
Because I didn't fit in there. I was a sore thumb there. I was just different. And so all these people would stare at me, but I didn't care. I just was happy they were there. They would go sing worship songs to me, which I didn't know how to sing a worship song.
Where do you put that, right?
That didn't fit with my hip hop and my Mac Dre and my NWA and my Metallica and whatever I was listening to. Too short. I listened to everything. Slayer.
Oh gosh.
It just didn't fit with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, but I was touched by it, and it was the beginning of my kids actually being a part of my transformation, because I would watch them, and it was like God showing me through them a lifestyle of true worship. They would just want to share with their dad what they learned, and they would sing these songs, man. And there was a song, it's for kids, soon and very soon we're going to see the King.
Yeah.
They would sing that song, hallelujah, and they were 3 years old, man. They're beautiful. Wow. And it would just, inside I was just doing cartwheels.
Yeah.
I was a mess. And I was just tore up. And I needed a savior. I needed a rescuer. And I didn't know what was going on in me, but it would break me. And I would watch these two, just beautiful as can be, singing these songs. Then they taught their sister, Victoria, their older sister, who I couldn't afford to put in there. Actually, I think she went for a time, but they all would start singing. So I ended up going to jail. I'm in there. I'm thinking about all these different things. I'm thinking about Vanessa, who's now, getting a little older. She's becoming a young girl. She's my oldest. And I'm like, man, now I know mom's using. I know that I was using extensively. And I know that I was doing dirt. I know the mom's doing dirt.
Wow.
I just wanted to keep my daughter safe, and we didn't have cell phones, so I couldn't just call the homies to watch out for my kids. I knew they would on their own, but it was just tough.
You're
just
so
a lot.
far. Yeah.
Just a lot for a guy to go through mentally, and been used to a lifestyle of lies. So this guy comes back around.
The Rock.
The Rock, man. And he's just relentless. Just, hey, man, I just want to tell you, bro, God's been showing me this, and God's been showing me. I'm like, dude, God needs to show you how to get out of here. I'm like, have him show you how you need to get out of here. And then when you find that road, tell me.
Yeah.
But I was just not very nice to him. I said, look, man, me and Jesus got this thing. I don't mess with him. And I didn't say it in nice words.
Yeah.
And he don't mess with me. And I remember saying that to him. And I said it with curse words. And I said, look, I know God, man. I was an altar boy. And I brought that up, my whole religiosity background. I took CDC. Did you take CCD classes? I took them.
Huh.
I know about Palm Sunday.
Right.
So I'm throwing this at him like, dude, just miss me with all this. And he's like, look, dude, there's church, man. And I go, church? He goes, yeah, there's church service, man. It's tomorrow. And it's right here in that little building right there. It's the chapel. And he points it out. And I'm like, I'm by the phones. He's like, yeah, that building right there, man. Tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? I go, well, you want me to go? And he goes, yeah, I want you to go, man. Let's go to church. I'll go with you, man. We'll sit together. And I came from a neighborhood where I always heard people that got out of prison saying in church, in jail, or prison was where either you bought drugs or gay things happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted no part. I go, look, dude, I don't know what you're into, but I don't get down like that. And I just told him just like that. And he knew what I meant.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to clear the air. I didn't want him to think I was a certain way. And
Yeah.
so I just didn't even go there with him. And he goes, nah, man, it's not like that, bro. It's just church. I says, okay. I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll go, but I don't ever want to hear another word about Jesus. I don't want to know. I don't want you to pray for me. I'll go, but I don't.
Get you off my back.
That was my goal. That was my goal. Just to get this guy away from me. And the nicest way I knew how. Because honestly, I wanted to fight him. I wanted to just regulate on him. And
yeah.
And he was just, I did admire that he was just always at me.
Was he that way with everybody? Or
No.
He just picked you.
I don't know.
He was sent to you.
He was sent to me. And so the next day rolls around. I'm avoiding this guy all day. Yeah. From breakfast. I didn't even go to breakfast that day, I don't think. And it was at 4:30 in the morning. And I didn't feel like getting up. I just didn't do it. And so then I seen him on the yard in the afternoon. He's like, hey, bro, we got church. All right, let's go now, man. Let's go. And I'm like, all right, let me get this done. So it was like the slowest walk ever. The slowest. It wasn't that far. It was from here to the street from your house. We're more about, 50 feet?
Yeah, if that.
So we went back to the barracks. Got pen or something. I got something. And he followed me. We went over there. And as we're walking, this slow walk, I'm looking at all these people from different corridors coming, kind of all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember it vividly because it was different walks. It was whites, blacks, Filipinos, Chinese, just every walk. And they were starting to go to the same location, which is kind of centrally located, but it had different little pathways in Elmwood. And they were all coming to the same place. And I'm like, oh, they must serve food or something in here. Everybody's going to church. But I'm looking at all the different ethnicities, which I thought was cool. I was like, wow.
Yeah. And that's weird for
So then I'm making contact with people I sold drugs to on the street. I'm like,
okay. I'm
starting to see familiar faces. I'm like, oh, hey. And I'm just doing the head nod because I'm too cool to talk with you in this church line.
Yeah.
Can't have it.
Right.
It was just something in me dying, coming to a death.
Wow.
And that's what it felt like. It was horrible. Inside of me, I was just anxiety. It was fear. It was anger. Man, you name it. Every feeling. I was sweating. I was still coming down off of an 8-ball-a-day habit.
Man.
Days out of not doing anything. People offering me things in there, and I didn't even take it. Don't even know why. I needed it. But I didn't want anything. But I was physically, my stomach was tormented from the drugs. I was just going through it a lot. Coming down, withdrawing, angry. My family was a mess. I felt bad because we were staying at my mom's at that time. What was I doing to her?
Right.
Just a lot of stuff.
There's a lot going on.
A lot, man. A lot.
Convergence of stuff, yeah.
A lot to the point of, as I think back now, there was times I thought about suicide. But I didn't do it because of the fact that I didn't want to hurt my mom.
Yeah.
That's what kept me from doing it. And I wouldn't want her to bury me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what kept me from not going that road. But I thought it a lot. And it's just the enemy, as I look back now. So anyway, we're in this line. We get in, they open the doors finally, and we're sweating out there, and they're letting people in. It was November 6th is the day. Well, I'll get to that.
Huh.
No, so November 6th. It's November 6th. And here I am in this line of this little chapel in Elmwood Correctional Facility. And I'm looking at all these people, and I'm walking in. There's folding seats. There's this little preacher, old white man, and I gathered it was his wife because they were really close, talking probably about what they were going to sing, about what they were going to talk about. He goes, "Okay, everybody, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat." So my new buddy says, "Let's sit right here in the front, man." I'm like, I just pointed to the back, like, no,
Nope.
I'm gonna sit back there. Oh, smoking section, huh? Sinners row. I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking
The
about.
smoking section.
And so I'm like, what is he talking? But I say that now. It's funny.
Yeah, I get it.
And I say that, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
still say that, but it stuck out to me, and I didn't. It just nothing was funny to me. There was no
Right.
joy in my life. There was just everything, just a mess, chaotic, suicidal, mean, angry, in need. Needed sobriety. I needed my family. I needed redemption. I needed all these things, man.
And you couldn't do any of it.
I couldn't do any of it on my own.
Huh.
It's like nothing I was doing was right. Every relationship that I got into, whether it was with women or drug friends, was just not valuable. I just couldn't get it right, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm in there, and they start worshiping, and I didn't know these songs. I didn't even know what kind of music it was. I love music, but I couldn't get the rhythm. I couldn't clap to these songs. I was offbeat. I tried a couple times. I just felt so embarrassed.
Huh.
Everybody around me was clapping together simultaneously, on beat. People that you'd look at and say, "Oh, this guy has no rhythm." They had rhythm, man. And I couldn't get it for the life. And I looked at myself as a person who, man, I could thump a beat and keep it up,
Yeah.
but I couldn't gather it here.
Huh.
I couldn't get it together. Just nothing was going right. And then the preacher stops. He goes, "Okay, the Lord just showed me that, someone's going to hear this next song. And when you hear this song, I want you to lift up your arms and surrender to God." And this is like 2 songs in, which I didn't feel the 2 first songs
You
at
just
all.
got here.
I'm sweating like bullets, withdrawing bad, man. My stomach's twisting up. I'm like, am I going to have to run to the bathroom? What's going on? I'm sick.
Dang.
Didn't really want to see this preacher or his wife or these guys around me. Didn't care. But something wouldn't let me budge. And he starts to play this song real slow. And his wife looks at him. They smile at each other. And I was like, wow. And I'm vividly seeing all these things taking place. And they start playing this song. And it sounded like something familiar. And I couldn't put a finger on it. And it's just like unfolding for me.
Huh.
And I didn't quite get it. And as he started to play, and they both got to sing, and they started about to sing into the song. They said, "Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King." And he was strumming the guitar, and she was like on the keyboard. "Soon and very soon." And it's like it was slow motion.
Huh.
It was like God just opened my eyes. I looked up, and I felt some joy. I felt the hand of God just touch my heart.
Huh.
Like I'd never felt before. I lifted up my arms because he said to.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was taking place. I never experienced anything like that. And I just began to weep.
Huh.
It just touched me so strong. And I always say it was like God just touched my heart with his finger. And it broke me as a man. And it birthed a new man.
Huh.
Because in that moment, man, I broke. Like I was weeping. I was broken.
Yeah.
All these guys were around me. I didn't cry in front of anyone. I had this persona that in my own mind.
Yeah.
I just didn't do that.
Yeah.
And the guy that I've been fearing now is next to me, and he's like put his hand on me, and I felt like he was trying to get people to come. And I just put my head back down, and I was weeping. I had boogers, and I'm just crying,
ugly.
man. I'm crying ugly.
Yeah.
Like I've never done this. It was like release.
Whoa.
And I just raised up my arms. The preacher started coming, playing, and they kind of circled me. They led me to the Lord. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't know what was going on.
It was like, what happened to me?
It was extreme.
Huh.
It was extreme at an extreme moment in my life, but there was nothing like it. I've never been high like that before.
Huh.
There's no drug that can replace what I was on. There's nothing human that I've ever experienced that could touch me the way that happened. And I can't put a finger on it, man, but it broke the shackles off my life.
Yeah.
And it literally brought me to my knees right where I was at. And these men were all praying for me. It was kind of scary because I never had that done. I never seen it done in the Catholic Church. I never seen any of that. I heard tongues, and I had experienced tongues dropping the kids off at the CDC program where the director would start to pray for me, but she was African. And so I thought it was her native tongue. I come to find out that they were speaking in tongues, and that's what she was doing. But because of the accent that she had, because she was darker, I actually thought it was in her own native language.
Right.
I come to realize that these men that prayed for me were doing the same thing. And I remember looking up at them, and they were just praying in the spirit. And it was tongues. And it was the same thing she did. And I had no idea that every encounter that I was facing, God had orchestrated for that night. For me to get saved. And I gave my life to Christ that night, man. It was amazing. It was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And it didn't just miraculously change, though.
Yeah.
You know, I gave my life to Christ. I didn't sleep that night. I was on this new cloud. That brother was praying for me. I thanked him. I didn't even know why I was thanking him. But God does things in a way that when you know it's divine. And I didn't know, but in my spirit, I felt joy. I hadn't felt joy in a long time. And I don't know what was going on. It was new to me. That love, that new feeling that I've never experienced was just new. And didn't sleep that night. The guy was just sharing his faith with me and filling me and watering seed. And I was just absorbing it. From then on, I was attentive to what he had to say.
Yeah.
The very next morning, they shouted, Jimenez, roll it up. And I'm like, roll it up. He's like, hey, bro, they're calling you. And I'm like, well, calling me? I go, I must have court. Cool.
Roll it up.
Roll it up. Get your mat. Get your stuff. Let's go.
Bedding. Okay.
Get your bed, your mat. It was a mat, little flip mat. Your bedding and whatever belongings you had. And so I had gotten all these things from people. And he said, roll it up, man. You get rid of all your stuff, though. And I was like, and he looked at me, the guy that had been ministering, goes, I'll take it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I bet you will. And so I just gave him all my soups and all this stuff I had that people gave me that owed me money. And I didn't even want, but they just kept piling up.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of it. Just people owed me, and I didn't even remember the debts. I didn't want any debts. I didn't care about any debts. I just wanted to be out. I didn't want to be around a bunch of dudes locked up. I had women to tend to. I had a drug addiction to tend to. I had a family to look after, even though I was in that state. But my mind wasn't on being in jail around a bunch of dudes. And so I needed to get out. And they said, roll it up. They took me to down this hallway. Then they took me on this little shuttle bus to the other side of Elmwood. I don't know why I didn't walk. It wasn't that far. But they put me in a room that said OR, big old letters said OR. And I'm there for a while, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Am I going to court? You know, what's going on? I haven't gone to court yet.
Outtake? Or is it out?
No, it's own recognizance. OR.
Own recognizance. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like,
code.
what does this mean?
Legal code. Yeah.
And then the officer says, you're being OR'd. Yeah, I see OR. What does that mean?
Thanks.
He goes, it means own recognizance. I still don't know what that means. I'm not, I'm pretty smart, but at this point in my life, I've been addicted for a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it meant. I just didn't want to ask again. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. But I see my bag, my belongings, my personal clothes. I had their outfit on, an orange suit.
Yep.
And my green underwear and my brown flip-flops.
They wear stripes now.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen that.
They went back to stripes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I see my bag, and I'm like, well, why do you have my bag out? What's that about? I get dressed in my normal clothes for court?
Huh.
He goes, man, you're not going to court. You're being OR'd. I go, okay, OR'd. I couldn't take it anymore. What is OR? Because you're being released on your own recognizance. My own recognizance. I'm like, were they in that church? I didn't know what that meant. But all I know is I'm being freed.
Yeah.
I'm being released. That's all that mattered to me. That's all I heard. I didn't know where I was going. Didn't know if I had probation. Didn't know if I had court. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
The night before was amazing. Now I'm being OR'd. So I got released.
How?
I have no idea. I still don't know.
What?
I still don't know. What I know is this. Every charge prior to that,
Yeah.
because I went home,
Okay.
met with my ex. She took me to Jack in the Box. We got some food, went home, did the hanky-panky, because that's what guys did back then.
Yeah.
That was my release from anything I was physically going through, and I didn't know any better, so that's what we did.
Okay.
But then she sat up and said, leave me alone. And I was like, I've been clean now for a few days. Wanted to get high, too, when I got out.
Yeah.
But something in the back of my mind kept saying,
Nope.
you just did this thing with God.
Huh.
And I didn't do it. I had a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
She didn't know. But I remember her running out after we did all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, I can't get any charges on me. And
Yeah.
I was like, are you trying to get me in trouble? And I was kind of very fearful of going back.
Right.
I didn't want to be back in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to be free. And I had bought her a Volvo wagon, pretty nice car. Had the license plate made for her. Had the title to the car. Everything was a nice wagon, Volvo wagon. Those were cool back then. And they didn't pull you over in them.
Yeah. Yeah. You look like a safe,
Yeah.
upstanding citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I had all these ideas. So she ran out, and I'm like, I don't know what made me. I just got a bunch of drugs. I got a bunch of money. I said, look, I had 4 kids with her. I don't know what you're going through, man, but you ain't got to do what you're trying to do. I said, here's this, here's that, here's the title of your car, here's your keys. Just go. Just go. I don't know what made me do it, because I wasn't that kind of guy. I was very needy.
Huh.
I wasn't that easy to get rid of. I was very difficult at times. I was young in the mindset. I was still 17 in my mind, but I was 31.
Right.
But I just knew I didn't want to go back, and there was nothing that was going to make me go back. I wasn't going to have it. It was either that or I was going to die trying to stay out.
Wow.
And so I just told her to go. I stayed with the 4 kids, and I didn't see her for a long time. She left.
Wow.
She left. And the next day, I was like, I got to get out of my mom's house. I had to get a meeting with the people I did business with to let them know I was going to stop doing what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing anymore, but I needed to be a dad. And so this kind of talk
it's a busy week, man.
It's a busy week, but I had to get this all done. Like something urged me to get all this stuff done. And days, but it wasn't my own strength anymore. It wasn't my own strength. The Bible says that there's warring angels with you. And I believe that because I was doing things that I never would have done.
Yeah.
Not even high. You know? And I couldn't muster the strength to do it before.
Wow.
And I just didn't understand what was taking place. I just knew that there was something new in me, a new fire, there's a new thing going on here. I had the power to get her out of the house where she was like my kryptonite, you know?
Yep.
And not that she was evil. It was me that was evil the whole time. It's just I had such control even on her,
right,
that it made her do things that were ungodly, right? So she left. The next day, I'm like, I got to get out of here. Found this shelter for families because every other shelter was for women and their children. I have now 4 kids, no job, fresh off drugs. Can't go back to the lifestyle I'm used to of selling things.
Wow.
I need to figure something out. I can't stay in my mama's house. She's confused. She's not understanding why I was in jail. I didn't really want to go through all that.
Yeah.
I knew I hurt her, but I knew I needed to get up out of there.
Right.
And I called Sobrato Family Living Center in Santa Clara. It's a shelter for families. They said, "Oh, we're closed." I go, well, where are you located? "Oh, we're on Lafayette, but we're not opening. We're not taking new families." I go, "Look, this is my situation.
Yeah.
I'm homeless. I have 4 kids. We're going to be in our car as of tonight. I don't know. I just got off drugs. I need help. I don't want to lose my kids. Don't want them on the streets. What do I do? I need to talk to someone now." I never would have done that on my own. Ever. Ever. Never would have asked for help. Never. But there was something new happening. She says, "Well, can you come down right now? I'll talk to you." I said, "Yeah." Got the address, went down there. Santa Clara, right off of Lafayette and River Oaks Parkway. And went over there, found the place, walked in with the kids, told them, "Look sad, guys, look sad." I did. I remember just because that's who I was, you know, and
Yeah.
did that. And man, it's hot. So
Yeah, no, we can't run this AC otherwise.
oh yeah,
It sounds like we're in a hurricane over here.
So I went in there and I pleaded with her that I needed to change. She
Yeah.
goes, "Well, let me talk to my supervisor." Her name was Carmen. Nice lady. I sat there sweating bullets, kind of like I'm doing.
Yeah.
But didn't understand what was going on. And what happened was she came back in. She says, "Look, there's this unit. It's like a emergency unit." I said, "Okay. I got a little time." She goes, "We're going to give you 90 days.
Whoa. What?
Fully furnished apartment, 2-bedroom. I'm like, "What?"
Thought you were closed.
That's what I said. It's, you know, it opened the door and went through their little process, signed up, tested for them. I was clean. I wanted to use so bad.
Yeah.
I was getting rid of things. I had that meeting with my friends that I needed to get rid of stuff too. Also had a bunch of guns. And there was always this officer that used to get me out of trouble when I'd get pulled over in Mountain View, which was a lot because the Mountain View PD didn't like me.
They knew you.
They knew me. They wanted to bust me. They wanted a reason.
They look for that Impala.
Yeah.
Yep.
He would always show up. He'd hear my name, show up. "Oh, I got it, guys." You know, he was the gang task force guy.
Right.
Officer Eckdale. And he got me out of a lot of trouble. There was times he took weapons from my car. Don't know what he did with them. Don't even care. But
Probably in his basement.
I don't know. But, you know, I just needed them gone. And, you know, God sent an angel there. But I knew who I could call. This is years later. I've known him since I was in high school. This is years later now. I'm 31. But to me, it was the next day.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like I was 31.
Right.
I was a mess. I was still an adolescent in my thinking and my mind. I was fresh off drugs, but there was something new taking place. And got my weapons together. I said, I need to get rid of this. They had just done that gun buyback or exchange. They were giving like gift cards or something.
Right.
They had just closed it. He said, oh, that's over. I go, look, man, I just want to tell you, I just became a Christian. He goes, what? You're a Christian? And I'm like,
you?
yeah, I didn't know, but it makes sense now as I look back. He was a Christian the whole time, helping people and just always looking out for people. And he did that for me. And he goes, well, good for you, man. It's a blessing to hear that. He goes, bring your stuff down. He goes, but, you know, we're not friends. You just ask for me at the desk, and I'll come in there and retrieve everything you have. I said, all right. So I remember getting this Love's diaper box or Huggies, or it was one of the big old long box. I stuck some AK-47s, clips, everything loaded in there, sticking out, heavy.
Look like a cartoon.
It was ridiculous.
Oh.
But I wanted these things gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was driving me to get rid of them. I don't know why I didn't sell them. I could have made a lot of money on them. I had a lot of guns.
Yeah.
I didn't show my guns off to friends. I always had them hidden. I never pulled them out. I was always taught that you never pull those out unless you're going to use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never pulled them out. I never brandished them. We were at parties when things broke off. I never pulled them out, but I always had one. And I'm just grateful that I never used it and harmed anyone.
Yeah.
Because I was living a crazy lifestyle. But
it was right there. Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
I'd been shot at parties. Yeah. Watched guys get stabbed right in front of me. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff that, I don't know, somebody's watching out. And I'm just so grateful. But I turned all those guns in. I get into the police department. I said, I'm here to see Mike Eckdale, and whoop, whoop, whoop. The secretary's there. She's like, well, what's in the box? And I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm like, can you just get him? He's expecting me.
Just get him.
Can you just get him, please? Call him. Well, what's in the box? She says. And I'm backing away from the box. I left the box on the counter because I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
I go, well, look, they're weapons, but he knows about them. I'm bringing them, surrendering them to him. He knows about them. Can you please call him?
Yeah.
She texted him, but she goes, well, he's not getting back to me, so just hang tight. She goes, but I'm going to need to say ID, and I'm like, oh, man, here we go.
Yeah.
So right before that, I went to the adult probation because I had a probation officer.
Yeah.
He says, you're not on my caseload anymore. He's and as a matter of fact, you're not even in the system. I go, what do you mean I'm not? You're not on probation at all, he says.
What?
And I'm like, dude, I get pulled over in the city of Mountain View over and over again, time and time again.
Yeah,
I need you to write that down. He goes, I can't do that for you. I go, please do that for me. I'm asking you. I just did these changes in jail. I just got out. I need to get something staying. I'm not on probation, and I don't have any anger management or any kind of violence classes to attend. He goes, all right, I'll do it for you. He did that. Then I went and did the gun thing. So all this stuff is in days of being released.
Fast.
It's fast.
Wow.
So I did everything like that. I got a place. I got released. I got a place. I turned in my guns. I met with the homies. Broke it off with them. They said, do your thing. Just don't come back to this life, man. Just do your thing. Be a dad.
They just like...
It was super
released
cool.
you.
It was super cool.
So that's
they never
weird.
had a hold on me. They just...
That's weird too, though.
It's weird.
Because you knew things. Like, that's the most dangerous thing to have is knowledge about.
I knew things. I still know things.
Yeah.
And
they just like, okay, go. Don't come back.
Don't come back.
Weird.
It was very weird.
This whole thing is crazy.
It's crazy.
Ed, this is...
Listen, then I went to... Oh, man. It's so fast, though. So then... Oh, God, where was I? I turned in the guns. I go get my place after that. Then, I'm still attached to Mountain View. There's this bondage between me and the city. I wanted to see my friends, but I didn't want to see my friends.
Yeah.
I wanted to call those women that I was fornicating with and doing things with, but I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I wanted to be around my kids. That was a driving force. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do to better my life? I got a place. Yeah.
Minivan.
Yeah. Another wagon.
Lower it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a Suburban, too.
Okay.
But ended up going to Mountain View Adult Education. And I said, I'm going to get my high school. I dropped out.
Huh.
So I started, she just talked
that
me into
GED.
taking, yeah, she goes, take the GED.
Yeah.
Or the prelim for your high school. She goes, we'll see how you test. And my test came back like second year university score levels. And I'm like, what?
Street smarts.
I don't even know. I was just fresh off drugs, and I had been using for years.
Wow.
I was really scared about what it was going to reveal.
Yeah.
I was going to have to start taking math and English, and I was just not looking forward to it. I wasn't a good student, like I had said.
Right.
And so I was just like fearful. And she goes, you know what? You're ready to take the SAT. I think you just need to brush up for a couple days on your math, and you'll be all right to take it. And I go, what? And I'm blown away. This is a week later.
Yeah.
After I got into my place, I came back to Mountain View and just came for the school. So I did that for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Then I tested. She goes, you know what? You have to write a 500-word essay. I said, okay. She goes, well, you just told me you just experienced something, salvation. I want you to write about it. I wrote it. I hadn't written in years.
So the first
500 words to me was
that's a mile.
ridiculous to just for my mind to process before I put it on paper.
Ah.
I was scared to death about writing it. Didn't even know what I was saying. It was the same story I'm telling you, but in a shorter version, right?
Yeah.
Put it on paper, what happened to me in Elmwood, what I'd been doing. Turned it in. She says, you know, somebody read your story. We're going to print it. They printed it in some newsletter for Mountain View Adult Education.
Huh.
Some grantor gave a scholarship, $5,000, and said that I could get that. They said, we loved your paper. They submitted it. She asked me for permission. She submitted it. A week later, she says, you won. You won.
Keep going.
She said, you won. And basically, I got the scholarship for $5,000. And they asked me what I wanted to do for a career.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And so I said I wanted to be a truck driver. And I wanted my Class A. Because my ex had an uncle who worked at the DMV, and he was getting everybody licenses. You just pay him the money, and he would just zip you through the line, take your picture, and boom, done.
That's a good guy to know.
He was awesome. He did it for so many of my friends, but I never got mine through him.
Okay.
I'm like, why didn't I do it? So he's now working for a different place. He left the DMV after years. He even hooked up different people I know that I sent to get their commercial licenses. And I never did that. So I had to go find a school that would take me and my illiterate self.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that. I felt very unworthy, and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was timing. Everything was timing. And the fight that was in me now to be different and to do different things was never in me before. But I was clean.
Yeah.
So that sobriety, the new life in Christ, he put a Christian guy that just met me randomly that opened up his Bible. I remember he was there right when I got out, and he came over and he goes, hey man, let me pray with you. And he opened the Bible, and to me that was just weird. Just to do that. Now, not so much. But in that moment, it was just like, hey man, put that down. People are going to see you. Put that away. Like it was a weapon. Like it was just.
Right. It is.
And it is a weapon, right? But to me, it was like, hey man, don't let nobody see you doing that, man, around here.
Right.
Don't you know who I am? You know, right?
Yeah.
I had this.
You still got that image.
Stinking thinking, right?
Yep.
And just didn't know what was going on. But the person who gave me the scholarship, they said find a school that would take you. Every school was like $6,000, $5,000, or something like that.
Right.
I found a school. They were $8,000 in Oakland, really close to our Oakland branch too, right around the corner.
Okay.
It was called Precision Truck Driving School. I don't even think it exists anymore.
I haven't heard of it, no.
So I went to them in Oakland. I said, look, man, I know how to drive. He goes, you know how to drive? I go, yeah. And I don't know what.
Yeah, I heard how you drove.
Yeah.
The little Suzuki.
Yeah. And so I go, yeah, I could drive. He goes, okay. Well, let me see how you do. And then I'll base your fee on that. I said, because look, this is the situation. I went to adult school. They gave me this scholarship for $5,000. And I go, but I want to see if you guys can charge me more, like lesser than that. And, you know, I wasn't trying to hustle the guy. I was just like trying to make sure it wasn't the $8,000 they were asking for.
Yeah.
So I test drove with him. He goes, I'm the owner of the company. He goes, you drive pretty good. Took me around Oakland, or right around Hagenberger, that frontage road right there.
Yep.
Just right behind there, because it was in that school. It was crazy. But he goes, I'm going to charge you $2,500.
Nice.
I go, what? $2,500? He goes, yeah. I think you'll pass. I'm just going to show you the walk around and all that stuff, right?
Memorize the
all
script.
That stuff.
Yeah.
It's a script. Basically, they gave me a script.
Yeah.
And so I learned it. 2 weeks later, I got my Class A. They fronted me everything. He goes, go get your permit. He cut me a check right then when I met him.
Wow.
He goes, I'll accept you. You just have to sign this contract. He gave me a check for the DMV. I went over the bridge to the DMV by right there in Oakland. I didn't even know where it was until that day.
Yeah.
Went over there, paid the lady. Precision Truck Driving School, paid for my permit. I came back, showed him the receipt, gave him the receipt. He goes, keep your copy, but give me the receipt. He goes, and then come back and start taking the classes next Wednesday. I said, okay, cool. I haven't paid him a dime yet.
Huh.
He fronted me the money. I go back. I told them I found a school. They paid for my permit, so they're going to need their check. They go, okay, well, the amount's $5,000. I go, okay, and about that? She goes, I go, they're charging me $25,000. She goes, well, you just work it out with them. I go, what do you mean? She goes, it's $5,000. Work it out with them. I go, but they're charging me $25,000, so the grantor, you can give it to someone else that might need it.
Huh.
She goes, no, work it out with him. Okay.
Here's your check. Yeah.
Here's your check. I go back. I go, this is the situation. I know you told me 25. The check's for $5,000. He goes, okay, that's cool. I'll pay you the difference. I'm like,
What? What trucking school is this?
Precision Truck Driving School.
Dang. Man, the one I went to would say, oh, in that case,
Yeah.
let's make it 5.
Right.
What year was this?
This is 2003. 2002, 2003.
That's crazy.
Then,
so we got our trucking license the same year. That's
crazy.
That's when I got mine, and it was 03. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I went to A1 trucking.
I almost went to them. I
Yeah.
just couldn't understand. I called like 3 of them. I didn't understand any of them. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to learn from them. And this guy was a Mexican guy and a tall white guy. And he, I could understand them. So I got then they had, okay, then, this is what's even funnier. I'll go, so when do I go get my test? He goes, you're ready to take it. Like a week later, I go, really? He goes, now you only get 3 tries. I'm all 3 tries. I says, okay. I memorized the script. I did that. I had all this knowledge and absorption power all of a sudden that I didn't have.
You're supercharged.
I'm still weeks out of being in jail.
Yeah.
Out of being a drug addict.
Yeah.
I had to find a sitter for my kids to go do this class. It was insane. I had no job, needed gas money. At that point, my mom didn't want to give me no money. She didn't trust me. She had no reason to. I had no money because I wasn't making any money. I didn't know how, I don't even know how I was making it.
Wow.
All I know is that I had a place. I got my GD stuff situated. I got truck school situated.
Yeah.
All within weeks of my transformation.
That's incredible.
Of giving my life to the Lord. No probation.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
That's the part I don't understand. Is you're released
everything,
for no reason?
Everything. I had hundreds of anger management classes to attend before I went to jail. All that was gone from my record. And still, to this day, gone.
Doesn't make sense.
It don't need to. I already know what happened.
Yeah.
The minute I gave my life to the Lord, he opened up that cell and set me free.
He moved things.
He moved things. I had already talked to a DA that was throwing the book at me
Yeah.
and told me that if I fight it, I would get all this time.
Yeah.
And
They were eager to give it to you.
they wanted me to sign off on it.
It was time. Yeah. You were going to get yours, right?
I was going to get mine.
Wow.
And, the Lord had other plans, man. And he started speeding my life up to being a dad, to being saved, to having a career, to setting me up to win, And it was amazing, man. It was just something I can't even explain it. So much stuff happened.
That's incredible.
And even friends that I did sales with, they found out I was going to church. And I remember bumping into one, and he says, well, we've been selling drugs since we were kids.
Huh.
He's my oldest friend in Palo Alto. And he was like, I know you're hustling. He's a blood. And he'd be like, I know you're hustling, blood. That's what he called it. I go, he goes, you're selling to the church people? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, he thought you found a new angle.
He thought I was in the church house. And I said, man, I would never do that. What are you talking about, man? And I'm like, I just didn't get it. So I fell into this church where I was just by myself, me and the kids.
Yeah.
And I was searching for God. I didn't belong to any particular church, but nobody really approached me. I was going to spiritual warfare classes that they had there. I was feeding myself. Feeding and feeding and feeding. Didn't know where it was going. But I got my license. The DMV came to the school. Her name was Wilhelmina, the DMV operator. And I was so nervous to take the driving test with her.
Yeah.
And I was telling her how I was just blessed that all this stuff had just happened. I kind of shared with her what had happened, how I was fresh off drugs. She goes, oh my God, she was a believer.
Huh.
And she goes, well, look, honey, just drive and talk.
Yeah.
And she goes, and I'll tell you where to go, but you just keep talking.
That's what they told me.
And
It makes you more comfortable.
And I go, okay.
You're flowing.
And so I kept talking. And I told her my story. She was moved. She was like, she had me go up a big hill just past the DMV, big old hill. And I'm like, oh, I remember looking at this hill like, wow, this is a hill. And I made it. I told her about how God had transformed me, and I didn't know what was going on. She says, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
She goes, you got saved, and God's favor's on your life. And I says, man, she goes, pull back in the yard. We get back over there. She goes, well, I got good news and bad news. I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's the good news? She goes, you sure you don't want the bad news first? I'm like, all right, give me the bad news. She goes, well, the bad news is this trip is over. I go, oh, man. She goes, because I really want to hear more of your story.
Wow.
And I go, oh, okay. So I smile, and she gives me a big old hug. She goes, you know what? Your story's good, but you've passed. You have your Class A license. She gave me a little paper. She goes, go take your picture at the DMV. It was different.
Huh.
I go, wow, man. Weeks after my salvation, I got housed. I'm a father. I broke it off from my gang affiliations and my drug affiliations, and
Amazing. God's
separating me. He's giving me a future and a hope, like Jeremiah 29 says.
Yeah.
He says, I'll give you a future and a hope.
We just did that verse for the kids at Resonate.
It's amazing. And all these scriptures come now, and I'm like, that was me.
You have somewhere to put them. Yeah.
And, I didn't know the Bible. I didn't know how to read well. My new Bible was a New King James. So hard for me to read. Now, now I'm so blessed with the Message.
Yeah.
With the New Living Translation, with the NIV. My favorite is the Message.
I love looking at, you pick a verse and you just go every translation.
Yeah.
Figure you look at all of them on one time, Bible dot whatever.
Yeah. And so when you do that, when I study now, I'll do that. I'll get and God will illuminate more for me. When I'm in His Word, He'll just lead me down, because I do the same thing, and it just opens up and it feeds me.
You know, something amazing about this, what I've just listened to here, is it's stories like yours, and in a lot of ways mine too, that really solidify in my mind that God is the one who saves. I think anyone who thinks like, oh, I came to an understanding, or
Right.
I'm just so wise, or I'm so talented and so blessed that
Yeah.
I just got it. You know, I figured Christianity out, and I decided I'm gonna follow. I don't buy that for a second, because
That's pride.
yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
how many works
Yeah.
does it take to save you? Because people say, "Oh, I'm not saved by works." Well, except for that first one, because I was just smart enough to get it. You know, that was the maybe just one work.
Yeah.
Not yours. You didn't know what was going on.
I didn't know what was. It was so. Everything was new.
I felt the same way too. Yeah, I tell the story. It was over breakfast.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah,
somebody says a few words to me, and for some reason, I went to breakfast thinking Jesus was not real. Christians are crazy. The Bible's better for kindling than reading.
Yeah. Right.
And I walk out of the restaurant like, wow, I kind of want Jesus to be God. I'm like, that's impossible.
Wow.
And then you've just got one impossible thing after another.
And
so fast.
And it was. That's
crazy.
Within a month.
Yeah.
I was licensed.
Yeah.
I was set free.
Yeah.
I was
in every way, really.
Relocated. I broke every affiliation that was evil.
It's a change.
It was drastic. I didn't even see my ex. I didn't want to see my ex because, like I said, she was like a weakness to me, and we were unhealthy together.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It wasn't, and I knew that I would use. I knew that I would be what I knew to be around her.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't healthy for her. It wasn't for the kids. It wasn't for me.
Dang.
It was just because it was just chaotic, you know. But he had different plans.
So I want to. We're gonna have to fast forward. I want to hear.
Okay.
I want to hear more. I might have to have you back at some point.
Okay.
We just hit the 2 hour, like 15, 20 minute
really?
mark. Yeah.
Wow.
But I want to.
That's because of this amino acids.
It's
and
the
ultra COQ10s.
The BCAs.
Oh, BCAs.
I don't know.
What does that stand for?
Branch chain amino acid.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All I know is they work.
I got a friend, Yvonne, always makes fun of my random knowledge on useless things like that. Like,
that's funny that you said it. I was just sharing that with. I know so many. I was sharing with my wife and her friends. Check this out real quick.
Yeah.
This is so off key.
That's good. I'm good with rabbit
I don't
trails.
even know why I shared this with her and her friends because there was babies there.
Yeah.
I said, did you know that if you were to die and you left your baby to my wife, just saying, hypothetically, that my wife could then induce milk to feed your baby? Because God created them like that.
I've heard that.
And the thing is like, I don't know if you've ever heard this about women, but when they're together, their menstrual cycles key together.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with milk. So if they hang around with, like if my wife and her best friend have a baby, or if her best friend has a baby and she's hanging out with her, she will start to get the milk flow.
It's a hormonal thing. Yeah.
It's a hormonal thing. And it's amazing. I don't know how I know this, but I know this. Just random knowledge. And I just shared that with them the other night. It was funny.
I got another one. I'll tell you later.
All right, sorry.
Maybe not the time. So take me. Take me more to kind of like who you are now.
Okay.
Like describe for me what church is like, because I know you go to one.
Yes.
I know you're kind of involved in leadership roles there. You teach people.
I do.
Lead. Like this is a drastically different guy.
Yeah.
Than there was in 2002 or whatever.
Yeah. So now, because of the things I've gone through in life, I've always had this gift of talking and reaching people.
Yeah.
God brings me these people. And it's funny because, you know, it's as I look at it now, God only puts you around people that are just like you. He puts you around people that are just like you. Not for you to be better than them, but to help them become different.
Yeah.
You know, he wants
Access.
Yeah, access. Discernment. I'm able to see a drug addict. I've come to people. But anyway, who I am now is I go to New Harvest Christian Fellowship. Not a licensed minister, but I'm an ambassador.
Yeah.
For Christ. You know what I mean? I get to share God's word I get to share to the youth. So we're with the 12 to 18-year-olds.
That's right. You're doing student ministry. Yeah.
So I did that. Started with Bill Wilson. I knew that, man, this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. I get to work with we're a small church, but a powerful church. You know, there's strength in numbers too. But, you know, right now we're growing. And God's good, man. I'm in the marriage ministry. I run the ushers ministry at my church. It's good. I ran it for a while. Then I kind of handed it off, and it kind of went sour a little bit. So I'm back on it to redevelop it, re-strengthen it, rebuild it. A lot of unity's taking place in my church where I see people, God's showing me different giftings in people. Yeah. And so I'm trying to work with them, cultivating my gift of bringing those gifts out too. Yeah. In other people, so that it's just not me, but letting God use me differently. So I get to do that. Whatever my pastor asked me to do, I do it. You know, they say that, you know, there's a shepherd for every person, and obedience is better than sacrifice. So I'm obedient to where I'm at, to the ministry where I belong. Of course, I belong to Jesus. Yep. But I serve, and I have a pastor who loves me, who builds me up, edifies me, corrects me, rebukes me. But I do understand that, you know, it's for my own good. Yeah. And so because I have that openness with him, I'm able to take a rebuke. There's times if I would have gotten rebuked, I would have just left. Yeah. You know, but thankfully I see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is about my family and other souls and what God wants to do through me where I'm at. And so I get to minister. This Sunday I get to minister, which I'm so privileged.
Are you speaking?
Yeah.
All right.
So
what are you talking about?
It's on unity, and it's about just building up people and keeping it real. Yeah. And not so much speaking Christianese, how we tend to do, because I've done it for years too, even as a Christian. Yeah. And I'm on a new thing with God that he's just rekindling my fire with him to be more real in more areas of marriage, of real men's struggles with other men that are struggling that I see. And so just sharing and imparting what I've gone through to help people and to build that, you know, that it's not just in the church house. We don't just meet Wednesdays and Sundays, but the word is koinonia, right? It's fellowship. Yep. And that fellowship needs to take place in the community, in our homes, in our workplace, wherever we're at. You know, the Bible says where two or more are gathered in his name, there he is in the midst, right? So wherever I go, God's with me. It's me and him and the Holy Ghost, right? So it's three of us. Yeah. He's there. Right? So I always look at it like that. Wherever I'm going, I'm taking God. I'm not saying I'm holier than thou. I'm a man just like anybody else. But I don't hide my flaws. If I'm really going through something, I try to share that so people can see the relatable Ed.
Dude, that authenticity earns you so much with people.
Yeah.
They prefer that over the fake smile.
I've been the fake Christian.
Yeah.
I've been that guy. Yeah. Not because I wanted to be that guy. You become that guy if we become complacent, even in Christ. If we don't stay hungry, just like that guy, the beer commercial guy, stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty,
my friends. Yes. The most interesting man alive.
The most interesting man. But you know, it's so much truth in that. Yeah. And I live by this motto, and the motto is this: feed what you want to live, starve what you want to die. Yeah. You know, in my past life, I wanted so many things to die, and they did. But I had to choke them out. I had to starve them, and I had to feed the spiritual things. Yep. And so that's where I'm at now. I work with men, with youth. Now we got to teach, me and my wife got to teach the marriage ministry. I was so blessed because I came in, we studied together, which was fun. My wife's at a women's prayer thing. It's wow. Women. Warriors of war. I forgot.
Women of War?
Women of War.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's catchy. We should put that together because you've since remarried.
Yes.
And had like a million more kids.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a long one, huh?
That's a huge chunk. I think we skipped over that, but
we did. I was getting there.
Yeah.
Because this is where I met her. I met her at the shelter where I went. So that's actually a good part too.
The 90-day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in there. So you met your wife in the midst of all that also.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. This is a part two. Because this is where it gets really interesting. It's awesome.
Gosh.
And you know, the Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing and favor from the Lord. And truly, man, I'm in that blessing time.
Yeah.
I'm in the the Bible says you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. I sowed good seeds for a long time. I'm just starting to see it blossom, just starting to sprout. And it took a lot of tears, a lot of faithfulness, a lot of loyalty to God. So if anyone's out there that could relate to anything to hold on to that can drastically change them, is hold on to God, no matter where you're at. Whatever you know God to be, cling to it. Strive for it, feed it. Seek.
Ask. Knock.
What's he say? If you have not, because you have not asked.
Yeah.
Ask for those things, even if they sound crazy. God loves communication. He does.
Yeah.
And he's listening, because he answered my prayers. He saved me. And I'm so grateful. I got these 2 kids knocked out. Well, one's knocked out.
Yeah, she's still there.
She's on the phone.
Still going.
Yeah. And he's a blessing too. You got to hear his story. He wasn't supposed to make it. Oh man, I got so many.
We gotta do a part 2.
Let's do.
I think I'd love to hear because something I've been playing around with this podcast. I think is that gosh, even 3 hours.
Yeah.
Isn't enough to really.
And I was like speeding it too. It was fast, but there's so much.
Yeah. So
I gotta write it.
I've been kicking around the idea of just doing more focused, like, let's talk about marriage, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've got a pastor that I'm talking to in a couple of weeks where we're just talking about his experience planting a church.
Wow.
Which is, he could talk about it for 14 hours.
Wow.
So we're going to try to do it in like one.
Condensed. That's harsh. That's hard.
Here's a question for you. That there's a lot of guys out there who are 19, 20, confused, don't know who they are, mixed up with same kind of crowd.
Right.
You were, maybe they heard about Christ, maybe they haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could talk to yourself, or even talk directly to them, and I pray that your words make it to their ears. That's the beauty of this format, right? It can be shared.
Right.
Talk to that kid, that 20-year-old. What? OG.
Well, yeah. Whether you're female, male, if you're broken, if you're confused, if you're in something you don't agree with, that is rotten to the core, but you just do it because it's the cool thing to do. You do it because it's your hood. You're going to be looked at differently if you don't do it. I say that's a lie from the enemy. And in every neighborhood, there is that crazy one that loves God. There's usually a homie that met the Lord either in jail or someone in his family, and you hear God in their speech, but you can't decipher it, but there's something different. Reach out to that one and ask him about the Lord. Ask him what it is that keeps them from cussing like everybody else, because there's more to it than they're saying, you know, and they're just waiting to be asked because they don't have that boldness yet, but they know a lot. And if you're a young dad, if you're a young mom, you know, there's churches in every neighborhood, good churches, and there's people willing to help, you know. A lot of people see Jehovah's Witnesses, so they look at Christians as Jehovah's Witnesses, and they say, okay, well,
don't talk to
I don't want to be with them. No, don't open your door when you hear that knock on Sunday morning and you're not in church.
Right. Yeah, they know.
So the way to avoid a knock on your door is to just go to church. That's a good solution, right?
Yeah.
But
try it.
There's youth groups that meet 18 to 25, 12 to 18, if you're in those areas, and they're fun. Nobody ever told me the church was fun.
Yeah.
You know, you think...
That's what I thought.
I grew up...
I can smile here.
I grew up in Catholic church. Pretty boring, kind of gothic, kind of different.
Incense and robes and costume party.
And wine in the back.
Right.
And I only know that because I was an altar boy.
Yeah.
But, you know, just reach out. Talk to those ones that go to church. Ask. The best way to get an answer is to go to somebody you look to as a leader to you. They got answers. And if you want change, you'd be surprised what they might give you. They might give you good advice to go get that help. Find an older relative that maybe knows God, that's been down similar roads. Rub elbows with them. Say, how did you get out? Someone that's doing great. Ask them. They're willing to share their success story with you. Right. Everybody has a story. Ask somebody that's been successful in their story. Not everybody's successful. Some people are just getting out of their story to being successful. But you see some growth. Ask them, how are you doing this? Because sometimes the best system is a buddy system. You can go together. If you're facing addiction issues, there's Celebrate Recovery in almost every Christian church, in almost every neighborhood. You just got to go ask. If you have to do court mandated things, that's a good way to get signatures off of your time. It's a good way to know God in sobriety with a Christian value. It's a lot different than the 12-step that I grew up on that I hated.
The big blue book?
Oh, it's just horrible. Boring. You know, I don't have to come in and say, my name's Ed. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Ed.
I don't have to do that. You know, the Bible says that he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And once you're free, you don't have to proclaim that you're an addict anymore. You don't have to hold on to those things that kept you bound. You can release them. God cleared you of all that. And he wants to clear you if you're not there. He wants to rectify your life. He wants to open a new door for you. Whatever that is for you, I pray that you just find yourself, and everyone has that person you can run to. Just think of that person right now, wherever you're at. If you're in your room, if you're in a hotel room, if you're in your car, contemplating suicide. I don't know where you're at. There's a God who loves you. There's a God who wants to know you deeply. He already created you. He knows every hair on your head. He knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. He just wants you to say, Lord, show me your purpose for my life. And he will do that. He did it for me. It's still unfolding. I don't want to say that I've arrived because I haven't. You know, next week, hopefully I'm better than I am today. But I have that hope. My hope lies in Christ, that my children will know God. They see me serve God. They see me serve people. It's always about people. This message today is about people knowing God. My purpose is to be a vessel for God, that he would use any part of my life to better someone else. And that's what I hope. So if that's you, please reach out. You can find me through this podcast, or you can tune in or find me in my local church, which is New Harvest Christian Fellowship in San Jose on the east side for Jesus. But, you know, I don't rep a gang. but I do rep Christ. Man, I wish I would have known him at a younger age.
Yeah.
You know, there was people, a lot of my salvation too was from friends' parents who would always pray for us when we were going to go to party, and I would always receive the prayer.
Yeah.
Always receive prayer. It's covering for your life. So, yeah, that's it. That's
beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Dude, I say we call it there. That was perfect.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming on. We got to do part 2.
We might do a part 3.
Sure.
It's deep.
I'm down.
All right.
Beautiful. All right, I do like a little outside high five.
All right,
we're
cool.
done. Here we go.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
All right, well, there is another one in the bag. Gosh, it felt good to get to interviewing people again. There's a couple more coming up in the weeks to come. But, man, I enjoyed that. I think we definitely got to do a part 2 with Ed. There's some things in there that I've heard just through the hours of trucking with him that we got to get to. But that was such a blessing to hear. Ed, thank you so much for coming on the show. True joy just to get the download again from you. It's beautiful, beautiful story. As always, folks, if you heard something that resonated with you, something that you that hit you or reminded you of someone else, please share these episodes. Share the show. I don't want the Great Stories podcast to be huge so that it can be a thing to itself. I want the name of Christ to be known to people who need to hear it. And I believe that Ed's words, I believe that my words, I believe that other people's words who come on the show are words that need to be heard by specific people. So share the show. At a minimum, you can, push the thumbs up, give it a 5-star rating, and it'll just pop up quicker as people are searching. Just like we said, if you're seeking, you'll find it. And I hope that the words said in these microphones are a tool that God uses to reach people. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. You're still listening. That means that you either left your podcaster just playing because you couldn't reach it, or you knew something was coming, and you are right. This time, I actually I didn't tell Ed I was going to do this, but I just left the mics open actually after we were done because I figured he had some more things on his mind, and I'm glad I did because we had a little post-interview discussion, along the same lines, and he said some more just profound and inspired things. So I figured I would just tag that hangover on the end of the podcast as a little bonus material. So enjoy the follow-up conversation, and I will look forward to the next interview, and I hope you are too. Bye. Beautiful. Yeah, we hit 2.5 hours. So that was good. That was good.
Wow.
Man.
2.5 hours.
That was beautiful.
Wow.
What a story.
Dude, I didn't cry this time. It usually breaks me.
Focused.
I just, because, it's... But there was a time I couldn't share that story.
Yeah.
I couldn't share that story. I would just break, just start weeping. And now I could share it, I shared it actually about a month ago with a guy who was strung out on meth, young guy, dad, hadn't seen his kids. Old lady left him for his best friend. Tore up story, man. And I cried with that guy and I said, man, God changed me. He could change you. Oh, don't worry about what she's doing. Just worry about you, man. That's
the cool thing about your story is that you could sit down with that guy and I could sit down with him and say the same thing.
Yeah. But
it doesn't mean what it does. Because you can say, I was you. I know what you're going through. You can use words that'll
And
it's a your curse is a gift, right?
straight up.
It's
Yeah. Like I talk with the lingo like kids talk with.
Yeah.
It's weird. So they go, "Who are you?" Like when I worked at the drop-in center.
Yeah.
These kids are like, "Who are you? You're like a kid in a grown man's body."
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
And I'm like, "It's just who I am."
Yeah.
I've been down this road, you know.
Yeah.
And then I show them. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. What do you mean? I mean, it means it's been done.
Huh.
What you're going through, I've already gone through, or somebody has. Let me show you. It says it right here. And they go, "Wow."
Yeah. You're just telling them your own journey, right? And
it's your own. You are the gospel.
That's cool.
It's your story. Greater works you will do. Jesus said that.
Yeah.
That scripture used to drive me bananas. I'm like, how did the Lord say that? It would drive me. Like, I wanted to know the answer to that.
Huh.
I know what it is now. It's your own life with the gospel, right?
Right.
You're a living sacrifice for the Lord. That's what holy and pleasing to Him. As long as we're doing what we're doing for Him. And, like, our purposes are right.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I want to just keep doing it. You know?
Yes, I feel similar. You know, I talk about, because I teach the 1st to 5th grade.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool thing, you know, because I've been doing it long enough that you can see when someone gets it.
Yeah.
You know, because
they see the breakthrough.
Because they hear the same things.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, from when they hear the same words, and it might mean something, it might not, but there's like every couple of weeks, you know, I'll be sitting there in front of a crowd. You know, there's 50, 70 kids all sitting here.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I'll, you know, I'll be going through the same thing. Every week is the same lesson. Top secret.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same exact lesson.
Yeah.
They don't know it yet, but they're starting to figure it out.
Right.
And the most, like, random kid
will get it.
And this happened. There's one, you know, he's trouble. There's a handful of kids that are like, if you told me they were raised in the forest by like chimps, I'd believe you. 'Cause that's these kids, and
that's funny.
I swear to you, it'll be that kid that pops his hand up, and you see like
eureka moment.
I got it, and he'll put his hand up and he'll nail like this
everything.
This Old Testament to Jesus connection thing, like boom, he'll nail it.
That's awesome, man.
Obviously, like there it is.
Wow.
Jesus just made himself known in this room right now. That's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, if you know that kid, and that happens every couple of weeks.
That's awesome, man.
You know, you get to see that, and you see it because there's like a light. You see the light go on in their eyes, like like they
In my old ministry, I used to teach youth, and it was kindergartners to 5th grade.
Yeah.
And me and my wife did it.
It's fun.
It's fun, but they're so pivotal there.
Yeah.
But what's even more of a blessing is most of those kids are like 20, 21, 22 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They see me in public, but now they're adults. They don't look like they did when they were little.
Yeah, so you don't even know who they are.
Brother Ed!
Like, who are you?
Everybody knows who's Brother Ed or Big Ed. So
Yeah.
they used to call me Big Ed because I was a big guy.
Yeah.
But, oh man. That right there.
That's cool.
It's like being a coach, right? Because I've been that too.
Right.
When they remember you in public and you're like, oh yeah. It reminds you of who you were, man. To all these, a mentor, a success story to them, you know? And it's such a blessing to see them and to know, or the ones that are serving God, like Zach, the rapper, Z, he's doing so phenomenal, man. He's married, has kids, he's a pastor now, and amazing. He's a man of God.
Yeah.
And he's on fire, man, doing big things for the Lord. And I look at that kid and I go, man, I'm claiming him as my fruit, because the Bible says they'll know you by your fruit, right?
Yeah, hey, I'll take it.
You know what I mean? I'm a part of it. I watered that seed, man. You know what I mean? So I think about those things and the people you touch and every opportunity that you didn't turn away.
Right.
You know?
And you're never going to know really
until later
the effect you have, probably until you get to heaven. You're like, now I see what was going on there.
You know, my pastor just said the other night, he goes, many are called. Many are called.
Yeah.
And he looked at everybody and goes, are you called? Or are you chosen?
Yeah.
He goes, because the Bible says few are chosen. He goes, we're not a big church, but I believe you guys are all chosen. It was amazing, man. There was such a spirit of unity. And I opened up to the leadership on Wednesday and Sunday. And it was amazing because my pastor's son preached Sunday. And he had no idea, but my pastor said, you lead all the workers and you pray. He goes, I want your faith to be contagious, and it needs to rub off on everybody. And the best way is to have you pray for everybody before service. I said, okay, I'll do that, Pastor. And he was with one of our people that was going through something. So he goes, go ahead and handle that. I said, okay. I went in there, man. I stirred it up, and I just prayed on unity. And I said, God is doing something. Are we willing to do this? I go, we are a team. We're the body of Christ. I go, some of you might feel like a toenail. Some of you might feel like an arm. But you're the hands and feet of Jesus right now. Whatever you're going through, put it to the side and serve the Lord today for somebody.
Yeah.
And everybody was like crying in my prayer, right? I'm like,
the sermon hadn't even started yet.
Yeah, and then Bubs, I go, you want to add to this? Because he was going to preach. I go, I want to pray for Brother Robert to preach a good sermon, and let's lay hands on him. He goes, before you do that, he goes, I can't believe what you just said. Everything I tapped on a couple scriptures too. He goes, that's what I'm preaching on. It's confirmation, man. And I was like blown away because when I seen his stuff go up on, I was like, wow.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah.
And it's just, it's the way God orchestrates it, right?
Crazy.
And it's good because I've been in prayer, man, every morning. I've been just locking arms with my brothers and people that I haven't seen that fell off the church. God put them on my heart. I've just been sending out texts. I'm meeting with 2 people tomorrow. They want to just pray with me and hang out and drink some coffee. I said, awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
I'm trucking tomorrow.
I know, that's right, huh? Oh, shoot. Let me get this guy. So I'm telling you, this stuff's good, man.
Bang!